Ugieni Madonna, in Mazedio, Overo, Ovesniagbo, Emanazo, or Ugieni Madonna.
You will have to serve the community for 30 years before you come to this stage. They will ordain you or your title. Then by then you are one of the elder.
This year now, we don't read the year, so that's why we can do this year.
Historically, joining the Elders Council, an individual must have reached a certain age and must have made significant contributions to the community through leadership, service, or other meaningful ways. There was jubilation in the community as sons and daughters of Okada, both at home and in the diaspora, trooped out to be part of the ceremony with various hymns of the initiates agog with festivities. Friends and well-wishers of those initiated into the Elders Council jubilated at the Ogwedion after performing all traditional rites. The elders, known as Edion, in company with their loved ones, danced to their various homes where guests and family members were entertained.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning. Big thanks for joining me on the AM News on ITV. I am Philip Omogyupo. The governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo, says development can only be achieved by focusing on the needs of the people while attributing the steady progress at the ongoing Ramat Park overhead bridge to effective funding and timely payment of contractors. The governor made a commitment when he inspected some ongoing infrastructural projects in Benin City. Government House correspondent Kingsley Uchegbu has details.
The weekend's inspection of projects was greeted with jubilation by residents in the areas visited as they turned out in large numbers to welcome and commend Senator Monday Okpebholo's infrastructural revolution. Governor Okpebholo, after inspecting recent developments at the Ramat Park overhead bridge, described progress on key infrastructural projects as evidence of his administration's commitment to people-oriented development aimed at opening up the city and improving living conditions of residents.
I can't imagine within 9 months that we've gone this far. This is the landing and taking off. It's also completed. It's just now they have to start filling this place. Just to amazed with this level of work going on here. Just as I keep saying, the success we are recording is because we have a president that cares, and as he continues to fund us and we continue to pay our contractors, the work will continue to move fast.
Governor Okpebholo, after inspecting progress of work at Oba Market, expressed satisfaction, assuring that the project will be completed within 5 to 6 months.
The contractor is promising 6 months from now this job will be delivered. That means these people will come back to the market. They will shade on the street anymore. And then we move to the other side of the market so that the people on the other side also join these people until everywhere is completed.
Traders at Oba Market commended the administration for the reconstruction of the market, describing the project as timely.
As he live in house, God will vigilate the work when they do. I pray that God Almighty will strengthen him.
Governor Okpebholo also inspected ongoing construction of Ute Palace Road, Temboga Road, Upper Mission Extension Junction by Adoawa, as well as Catholic Charismatic Renewal Road at Ekewan Road, where residents commended ongoing infrastructural development across the state.
Landlord talk to tenants in this community. You say no, you come and you rescue us. God will bless you and one.
Kingsley Uchebu, ITV News.
The Benin City Choral Group brought the magic of Christmas to the residents of the Esama of Benin. His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Igbenedion, with a soulful rendition of 2025 Christmas carols and 3 powerful Bible reflections. Pius Nsoro reports.
Dressed in white, the choristers joyfully enveloped the revered patriarch in the spirit of the season, celebrating his lifelong commitment to uplifting humanity. It was an evening rich with traditional melodies as the Esama of Benin basked in the warmth and unity of the gathering. Barrister Peter Otaigbe, a close friend of the Igbenedion family, delivered the first Bible reading from Genesis chapter 2, reflecting the fall of humanity. The second reading, taken from Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 38, was rendered melodiously by Favor Omobude.
And dust shall thou eat all the days of thy life, and I will put a limit between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed.
The angel Gabriel was sent from God into a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary.
Reverend Father Stephen Dombury concluded the session with a stirring homily drawn from the Gospel of John. He reminded the gathering that through disobedience a curse came upon the earth, but through the birth of Jesus Christ, redemption was made available to all. The message was clear.
When we celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, we remember that it is because of Jesus that we are able to be free from this darkness.
As the festive season continues, the House of Igbenedion remains a center of Christmas cheer, with choristers and well-wishers spreading joy and goodwill. From Benin, Pius Nsoro, ITV News.
The draws for the third edition of the Kada Unity Cup for military and paramilitary organizations, scheduled to kick off on the 1st of February 2026, have been conducted in Benin City. Efosa Wangwe, who captured highlights of the draw, reports that unlike the previous 2 editions, 12 teams will participate in this year's tournament, which is expected to last 2 weeks.
The military and paramilitary football tournament, tagged the Kada Unity Cup, is the brainchild of former Edo State Governor Chief Lucky Igbenedion. The competition aims to foster unity and cooperation among security agencies through sports. Since its debut in 2024, the tournament has continued to strengthen the bond among participating outfits. Speaking during the 2026 draw ceremony, Chairman of the Edo State Football Association, Fred Newton Erunse, expressed appreciation to the donor and former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Igbenedion, for sustaining the initiative. He noted that this year's edition promises to be exciting and revealing, with the addition of 2 new teams, bringing the total number of participants to 12. He assured that officiating will meet the highest standards as professional referees will be deployed, adding that the tournament is steadily gaining national and international recognition, with the final of the last edition broadcast live on DSTV.
We are kicking off 1st of February, and it's good for you to know your opponents and to know your group, and as well to know the rules and regulation that is going to cover this year's event. His Excellency is very, very keen about how this tournament is going to go this year.
The Vice Chairman of the Edo State Football Association, Paul Ojeseroba, coordinated the draw, which produced 4 groups with 3 teams each.
Each team will play each other in the group stage, and at the end of the group stage, 2 teams qualify. As the top 2 teams, the first and the second teams qualify for the quarterfinal stage. The quarterfinal stage will comprise of 8 teams. So 8 teams will then slot it out to the semi-final stage, and then to the fight, the third place and the final stage.
Representatives of the various participating organizations were present at the ceremony, with some seeking clarification on grey areas. Members of the local organizing committee were also in attendance. Teams participating in the 2026 edition include the Nigeria Army, Nigeria Police Force, Department of State Services, DSS, EFCC, Nigeria Immigration Service, NGLEA, NSCDC, Nigeria Correctional Service, Federal Fire Service, and the National Youth Service Corps. The Nigerian Police Force are the defending champions, having defeated the NSCDC in the second edition. From Benin, Efosa Uwangwe, ITV News.
It was a grand ceremony over the weekend in Benin City when the solemnization of holy matrimony between Osayi Zena Izeyamo and Hayford Osayewanta Idwekeme took place. Wellington Akodeja reports that the former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakari Igbinedion, Edo State Deputy Governor Mr. Dennis Idahosa, senators and first-class traditional rulers attended the wedding ceremony.
As from today, accept you, Hayford Osayewanta Idwekeme, as my husband.
I marry you. I surrender myself to you. Is that correct?
Exchange of marital vows and administration of marriage oaths on Osayi Zena Izeyamo and Hayford Osayewanta Idwekeme at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Region 13 on Sapele Road, Benin City. The church was packed full with dignitaries, including the senator representing Edo South, Barrister Neda Imaswe, member representing Oredo Federal Constituency, Engineer Sosa Iyawe, a prominent traditional personality from Delta State, Chief Amami Ayiri, retired and serving Chief Justices in Edo and Delta State, who were on the ground to honor Izeyamo and Idwekeme families. One of the officiating priests, Peter Balogun, in a homily urged the couple to build their marriage on God and cultivate the habit of perseverance, especially during challenges.
Grace is not a Bible school subject. Grace is not a message. Grace is a person. His name is Jesus.
The event later shifted to a grand reception at the military hospital on Airport Road, Benin City, in a beautiful decorated tent where guests were lavishly entertained. The chairman of the occasion and the former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakari Igbinedion, gave a word of advice to the newlywed.
You can never win any argument without argument against a woman. So when it's time to argue, it's better for you to listen. And Osayi, as a medical doctor, you must learn to take care of the husband, both mentally, physically, and of course spiritually.
Senator Neda Imaswe also prayed for the success of the marriage.
Just looking at the demeanor of the bride and looking at her upbringing, I believe that there will be a couple of virtues.
The couples said they believe in God as they settle down.
I pray we continue laughing the way we like to laugh now.
I really appreciate everyone who has come to celebrate us.
Parents of the couple, Pastor Osagi Izeyamo, Mr. Matthew Idwekeme, thank God for the array of guests that show love to their family.
We are very grateful for honoring us with the presence. We thank God for the presence of Pastor Charles Osagi and the wife. Of ages, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Also thank you, the Secretary of PFM, Pastor Phil Aloji. I want to appreciate the Special Advisor to the Governor of Religious Matters, Apostle Suleiman. I want to especially acknowledge and appreciate the presence of the former governor and his wife of Edo State. My boss, my leader, Chief Lucky Nosakari Igbinedion.
I wish them to have a happier marriage than all the marriages before them.
The traditional marriage has also been held the previous day. From Benin, Wellington Akodeja, ITV News.
The 2025 annual Harvest Thanksgiving service of House of Favour International Church, London, has been held amid testimonies and heartfelt worship by members of the congregation. ITV foreign correspondent Rosalind Eborame who captured highlights of the service, reports that it was a moment of deep reflection on the faithfulness of God to families and, of course, the entire church, marked by gratitude, praise, and renewed faith.
Melodious praise by Edo gospel artist Adorable set the theme for the 2025 annual Harvest Thanksgiving service of House of Favor International Church, London, as worshippers celebrated God's unending grace and faithfulness. In a sermon titled Joyful Celebration, the senior pastor, Reverend Lucky Onaiwu, drawing inspiration from the biblical story of David, encouraged the congregation to trust God for restoration in every area of their lives.
You are a candidate of restoration. Amen. Many years have been wasted. Those resources you should have got in those years, God will make you receive them in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Senior Pastor Lucky Onaiwu and his wife, Pastor Jane, thereafter offer special thanksgiving to God, which follows by various groups and units in the church, including the Men of Valor, Radiant Women Group, teenagers, youth, children, as well as the media and ushering departments took turn to offer special thanksgiving to God. Some members also shared testimonies of healing and abundant mercy in their families.
Thanksgiving is the day of end of the year for you to celebrate, to give thanks to God for all what He has done for you.
We have the reason to thank God every day of our lives. It has been a blessed year for every one of us in the church, and our pastors and our family as well.
The Thanksgiving service also featured special song ministrations by the children and the church choir, adding color and joy to this celebration. From London, Roslyn Evorame, ITV News.
The zeal for leadership combined with genuine entrepreneurial skills forms the bedrock of good governance needed in Africa, not necessarily in terms of monetary proclamation. This was the consensus of various guest speakers at the second edition of the Success Conference organized by Good News Obazua in Benin City. The report by Albert Aibangbe is presented by Fosa Wangwe.
The 2025 edition of the Success Conference, which was attended by various stakeholders, provided an opportunity for participants and guests to brainstorm and cross-fertilize ideas for the common good of African leadership. In his opening speech, Peter Asibo encouraged participants to take seriously the discussions at the conference, internalize them, and return home as agents of change. The convener of the event, Good News Obayuana, said the conference was organized to bring great minds together to chart a way forward for a transformed African leadership.
This has been an amazing event. No doubt people's lives have been changed, transformed, and I can guarantee for a fact that we are going with this mindset that Africa indeed is rising, and we will be that change agent that will build Africa for greatness.
The first and second speakers, Mr. Blessing Okori and Dr. Taboside Osado, were of the view that truly successful entrepreneurs are those who are able to solve societal problems.
If it's entrepreneurship meant for you, you will know. You won't be comfortable where there is no growth. You can't stay where there is no expansion. Like you're not comfortable.
If you must be an entrepreneur, you must dare new path. You must solve problems innovatively.
On his part, renowned broadcaster Dr. Sonny Dukokosun opined that leadership transformation is not merely on the synergy between entrepreneurship and leadership, but on the genuine ability to harness both effectively.
The citizens of those countries cannot agree on how they can harness these resources for the betterment of the country or the continent, as the case may be. You also have the Western world influencing what is happening in these countries so that they can exploit these resources for their benefits.
The second edition of the Success Conference themed Leadership and Entrepreneurship, the prerequisite for African transformation, was organized by the founder, Good News Obayuana, from Benin, Efosa Wangwe, ITV News.
A civil society group, Talakawa Parliament, has kicked against what it described as an unfriendly tax legislation by the federal government expected to take effect from January 2026. despite the prevailing economic hardship faced by many Nigerians. This resolution was reached at the group's end-of-year press conference. The report, filed by Ogbomo Samoyi, is presented by Efosa Uwangwe.
According to the proposed law by the federal government, all citizens above a specified age are expected to pay a certain percentage of their income as tax irrespective of the nature of their employment. Speaking at the press conference, the Speaker of Talakawa Parliament, Mazis Kola Edokpayi, described the legislature as an imposition of additional fiscal stress on Nigerians both economically and socially.
That federal government of Nigeria should urgently reconsider, suspend, and engage in expansive consultations with civil society organizations, labor unions, and other critical stakeholders prior to the imposition of the law, as the people are supposed to be carried along for policies formulated on their behalf.
The Speaker also criticized the state government over the rising cases of kidnapping, describing private initiative to curb the menace in the presence of a constituted government as a bad omen.
Members of Edo State Security Network should be comprehensively armed, meticulously trained, and adequately positioned within a codified legal framework to effectively and efficaciously safeguard their respective communities, as the only way out of this quagmire is effective community policing. That the vigilante units be redeployed to the indigenous communities, leveraging local intelligence to confront insecurity.
On the issue of electric power supply in Edo State, the Talakawa Parliament expressed disappointment, accusing the Benin Electricity Distribution Company (BDC) of failing to meet expectations and plugging major city centers into darkness. During the event, a drone inspector carried out a test demonstration in the presence of members of the Talakawa Parliament and other attendees. To round off the year on a positive note, members of the group later hosted a reception. From Benin, Efosa Uwangwe, ITV News.
Evangelist Rosemary Ewoma has marked her 75th birthday anniversary alongside her daughter, Mrs. Sandra Igbinedion, who also celebrated her 45th birthday. The double celebration, of course, took place at London at St. Lawrence Centre, Bromley Cross, London, and was attended by family members, friends, and other notable personalities. ITV foreign correspondent Rosalind Eworame reports.
Joy and thanksgiving filled the atmosphere as the celebrant, Evangelist Rosemary Ewoma, surrounded by her children and well-wishers, was led onto the dance floor. The celebration came alive with melodious rendition by popular gospel artist Vivi Melody, also known as Obi Juju King. Her daughter and co-celebrant, Mrs. Sandra Igbinedion, joined her siblings and guests in a joyful dance, marking the moment of memorable celebration of faith, family, and gratitude. Both celebrants later cut their birthday cake, expressing heartfelt gratitude to God for life, good health, and divine preservation.
As they come and celebrate with me, they will know Jesus, they will closer to God, and God will submit all their needs in the mighty name of Jesus.
I'm happy, I'm super excited, and I want to thank everyone that has been here to celebrate with us. May God bless you all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Children and grandchildren of Evangelist Rosemary Ewoma described her as a loving mother, a devoted intercessor, and source of inspiration to many.
We pray that God that has begun a good work in her is able to bring it to completion until the day of Jesus Christ.
I want to wish my grandma a happy birthday. I love you so much.
I'm happy and just excited for the fact that we're able to celebrate another year with our grandma.
Guests traveled from the United States and other parts of the world to London to honor the mother and daughter on the special day.
At 75, Evangelist Rosemary Ewoma remained committed to spreading the gospel, engaging in daily social media evangelism, encouraging believers across the globe. From Catford, London, Rosalind Eworame, ITV News.
As the hospitality industry continues to expand in Benin City, a new food and lifestyle destination has emerged, adding flavor, employment opportunities, and social value to the city's growing economy. It is against this backdrop that Still B Restaurant and Lounge has been officially opened along Ogumenyin Road off Ugbo Central, GRA Benin City, of Urianito. Completes the story.
The atmosphere was lively as guests, friends and well-wishers gathered at the newly unveiled Still B Restaurant and Lounge to witness the commencement of full operations. The facility featured a well-stocked bar with assorted wines and spirits, VIP indoors and outdoor lounges, as well as a restaurant offering a wide range of mouth-watering meals including burgers, pastries and local delicacies. Speaking at the opening, the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Solomon Imariak Bontoa, said the establishment was created to deliver premier customer service, quality meals, and a relaxing ambience while also contributing to job creation and economic growth in Edo State.
We are giving Benin people and Edo people a new face of good customer service, entertainment, a way to enjoy good food without no stress.
Some guests at the event expressed satisfaction with the facilities and commended the vision and initiative of the proprietor.
The restaurant settings is very, very nice ambience, palatable meals available, where you can come and eat your local delicacy, your cultural delicacy from every walks of life. It's why you come and just want to eat your cultural delicacy with a very friendly price.
We are just here to do the betting of, Still B, and it's a very beautiful place.
Everything is top notch, 100%. From the kitchen to the grilling to the bar to the line, everything is 100%.
We came to celebrate with him. Your money, what's the value of whatever you're looking for here?
He has done a great thing, so I appreciate, so I have to be here because I celebrate success.
Still B Restaurant and Lounge is located at number 23 Ogumenyin Road off Ugbo Central, GRA Benin City. From Benin, Ofure and Neto, ITV News.
And that's how we'll call it a wrap on the AM News. Thanks for watching. I am Philip Omol Gyupong. Coming shortly is TMI. Happy viewing.
ITV, certainly the best.
The new Edion expressed excitement as he danced and rejoiced before the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawari Benedion, who also joined in the dance. As visiting and paying of homage to various homes of senior elders continued, the initiates spent 7 days performing diverse kinds of rites as required by tradition. They were furnished with rules and regulations regarding their new office as Edion.
That I grew up in this community to the point that they have now also chosen me as an elder in this community. It's a thing of great joy. All thanks to the Esama of Benin, my people, my family, everybody, all Okada community for this great honor. I am very, very grateful.
Well, this is my brother. I'll call him my uncle because he grew up with my father. I'm so proud of him because we are doing the same rituals as the Edions of the Okada. It is our duty for us to make this place a greater place, for outsiders to come and see the goodness of God in Okada. And I'm proud of every one of us here. So shall it be to each and every one of us in Jesus' name.
Okada zima Esama zima dio Ebuna zima dio Obala zima dio Marawe Maari Esama dio na Nimado Pom Esama Nimado Beken Esama Emana dio Warena Esama Magbekene Osaba Obuyo Bitone Aba no get Tony Maga not Yami Magame Manido Bekene Denena Ima Yafe Ima Ato Ima Agmo Arokbai Wudori Ima Adia Wogene all the Tiagmoyano Emi Magame we need just to know me our fan
in Esama in our father's house in respect of our initiation to elders Edion level. As tradition demands, we are here today to come and also pay our homage to him, for him to also pray for us for long life and prosperity.
The climax after 7 days was paying of homage again to the Edion way, where he gave the initiates the
It's amazing to have you join us on a fresh edition of This Morning on ITV. Quite a kudos to know that we've come close to the end of the year. Basically, we'll look at the challenges that came upon us in the course of the year. Well, we just have to say, in spite of it, we'll stay resilient and we never will give up because we are Nigerians, okay? So basically, we'll look at what transpired in the course of the year. And of course, as we gradually get to the end of the year, what's going to happen in the year 2026? Well, good tidings I bring you. I want to say Merry Christmas in advance and a prosperous New Year in advance to you. And basically, we'll look at what the document is like every fiscal year. And of course, the government basically embarks on a prototype that would help guide the policy implementation in governance. And we call it the budget. The fiscal year, we look at the monies earmarked on the budget that will help to, implement the policies as planned by the government. And what is the budget for Edo State? Because the subnational government, Edo State, is what we're going to be looking at today. And of course, they've proposed 939 billion naira for the 2026 budget. And basically, from that, we have about 420, billion naira earmarked for expenditures, basically looking at infrastructural development. And of course, about 305 billion naira will be expended for road construction and rehabilitation. Well, the breakdown goes on, and basically as the show progresses, we will itemize all of this. But let's look at what has been pledged for food security and job creation. About 68 billion naira. A budget, Christian budget of hope, is basically a talk of the nation, most especially as the Senator Monday Okpebholo-led administration is embarking on very, very massive projects in the course of the year 2025. And of course, it's expected that more will be seen in the year 2026. And of course, looking at what it is like, how has the budget monitoring been for this year 2025? And what could be also the prospect for the year 2026? It's upon us, and it behoves every citizen to make sure that questions are being asked about what the budget itemized and how the government institutions are going about, tackling every aspect of the budget to know if basically there's optimal performance in utilization in the budget. Well, some will say, how has the performance been even in the year 2025 budget? And what could also be the prospect for 2026 is that the budget monitoring will also bring about optimal performance, where we will see every project itemized by the government actually implemented to the letter. Well, we see the flyover project at Ahmad Park, and of course the one also beginning at Saple Road. And of course, it's also a promising fact, and that also matched with words and actions to also have link roads, that will also help, in the access of materials being brought from the rural areas to the urban, most especially as we look at our farms. Reports have been said even concerning what the Edo State government said actually as regards how to make sure that a budget is also created to make sure the agrarian society is developed to a point where the herders and farmers classes will be greatly reduced, if not eradicated. What are the prospects? And basically, how do we tackle it headlong in the budget for 2026 of Edo State? The appropriation bill basically takes a tone of 939 billion naira. That's quite a lot, you might say. Well, not alone on this. Joining me from the Lagos Market Center is Josh. Joshua, good morning. Good to have you join me. I like calling you Josh. Hope you don't mind.
You're absolutely on point. Good morning, my good friend. And of course, I can Charity Tanko over there in Abuja. My greetings to you. And of course, joining me right here is my co-anchor Patricia Gabriel. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh, and good morning, Philip, and then Tanko there. I want to say Merry Christmas to you all in advance.
Basically, it was almost like a missing in action, not being able to identify Charity Tanko. Good morning, Charity. You look bright this morning. I know you've got a lot to say from Abuja Network Center. Come on, spill.
Well, good morning, Philip. Good morning, Joshua. Good to see you this morning. Basically, from the Abuja Native Center, we'll be discussing the budget as presented by President Bola Tinubu, and we are going to be taking a look at the creation of state police, which he has said he has given the go-ahead to state governments who are ready to create state police, and also the creation of forest rangers and all of that. So we're going to be taking a look at that particular budget, which is 5.41 trillion naira for security in the country.
All right, no doubt we are going to be also hearing from the Lagos Medical Center, where Joshua and Patricia is already getting ready to spill what they've got. Let's share it.
Right here in Lagos, we'll be looking at a poll made by the U.S. President on 20 envoys or ambassadors, if you like, and of course Nigeria is also inclusive. And then this is also interesting to note that also looking at the recall made on these envoys, we'll also be looking at concerns raised as regards these appointees. Don't forget, they were former appointees of the previous administration under the leadership of Joe Biden. And of course, by virtue of that appointment, they were supposed to stay up until January 2026. But unfortunately, a drastic turn where their appointment was terminated, and of course, a recall process was made on them. And now these reactions from of course, various persons across the globe are like, what is the Washington up to? Is it power play, or is this a subtle of replacing very trusted voice across board? And of course, we'll be looking at the diplomatic ties Nigeria has with the U.S. as this comes to an end, especially looking at how our economic and political play with the U.S. will be in the coming days. And also don't forget that we also are with the visa restrictions coming from the U.S. president, which has various categories. So these are some of the issues we'll be looking at side by side in the course of our conversation this morning. Of course, Pat will also have one or two to say as regards the subject matter.
Yes, Josh, thank you. I was actually going to talk about how we're going to be looking at the political and economic on this issue. We'll also be looking at the lessons Nigerians and our policymakers would take from this. Josh.
All right, over to you, Philip.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Patricia. Well, that's what it is like because we look at the essence of government, for instance, We must also take our minds back to the, origin of the state, where Thomas Hobbes, a philosopher then, said that life is short, nasty and brutish if there is no government. So bring in the government so that we can help, regulate the affairs of the people. But again, we look at the expression of government or the expression of the people because we say the government is about the people. And simply put, where we've got an import of democracy, where we say the system of government, that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. But how is this felt by the people? Basically, as we look at all of this as the year gradually closes up, it's expected that you join us across the network centers as we bring you, very, very resourceful topics and discussions from our analysts in all of this. We take a short break, and after which we dive into the pages of the newspaper. Do stay.
The new Edion expressed excitement as they danced and rejoiced before the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawori Igbinedion, who also joined in the dance. As visiting and paying of homage to various homes of senior elders continued, the initiates spent 7 days performing diverse kinds of rites as required by tradition. They were furnished with rules and regulations regarding their new office as Edion.
That I grew up in this community to the point that they have now also chosen me as an elder in this community. It's a thing of great joy. All thanks to the Esama of Benin, my people, my family, everybody, all Okada community for this great honor. I am very, very grateful.
Well, this is my brother. I'll call him my uncle because he grew up with my father. I'm so proud of him because we are doing the same rituals as the Edions of the Okada. It is our duty for us to make this place a greater place, for outsiders to come and see the goodness of God in Okada. And I'm proud of every one of us here. So shall it be to each and every one of us in Jesus' name.
Odion ma Okada zima Esama zima Dion Bona zima Dion Obala zima Dion Malawe Mari Esama Dion na the mado pon Esama the mado gbeken Esama e ma Dion wa na Esama magbekene Osabo obuyo bitu ne ba no get turn maga no dia mi maga ma ni do gbekene ne de na e ma ya fe e ma ato e ma agbon oro pa ewu dori e ma dia wo gene o be ti agbon ya no we mi maga me ni just Christ no mi afa
in Esama, in our father's house, in respect of our initiation to elders Edion level. As tradition demands, we are here today to come and also pay our homage to him, for him to also pray for long life and prosperity.
The climax after 7 days was paying of homage again to the Edion way, where he gave the initiates the full rights to function and to henceforth participate in meetings with Edion. It will go down in the history and minds of Okada community, Ovia people, Edo State, and Nigeria in general. The ambience, style, and the colorful ceremony associated with the 2025 initiation into the Edion Council of former Governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosagari Igbinedion, his brothers Bright Ayamekwe Igbinedion, Honorable Charles Osenwige Igbinedion, Peter Osawori Igbinedion, Dr. Fred Osanwi Igbinedion, Barrister Mike Osane Igbinedion, Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Gwede Onwunse, Honorable Efosa Douglas Igbinedion, Ukponwa Igbinedion, Osawe Igbinedion, Edosa Igbinedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbinedion, as well as Agbong Steve Igbenedion, among other sons of Okada.
Direction to the mood of the nation. Well, it's a festive season, and of course, Christmas just by the corner, and the end of year activities also pressing forward. Well, everything needs an attention this time around. Family needs, corporate needs, everything has got to, be put together to make sure that there's a balance in every equation. You know what I mean? I can bet you. So, but well, let's quickly see what will be hitting the screen as the first newspaper we're gonna be looking at today. And we've got the Guardian newspaper. It says investors wary as demolitions flatten over 2,500 houses. You know what it is like when houses are demolished. Of course, we look at the costs that is also emanating from that. The losses, the investments spent by investors into such, infrastructures are just being demolished. Well, it speaks a whole lot on the Guardian newspaper. Let's see the next. Of course, we have it on the Nations, where it says federal government no going back on tax law from January 1. Well, that brings a whole lot, to the new year coming, 2026, and the tempers are rising. Basically, intrigues are there and suspense on how it's going to be like. You know what it is like when tax is increased, and of course, where you're going to get the money from. Basically, it's a feverish thing, a feverish feeling that will basically, will be the discourse that will be forming, forums in the early of the new year 2026. Let's see how it comes on the next. Yes, we've got the Nigerian Tribune, and it says Oyo Ogun, Lagos unveil joint security offensive to secure highways cities. And that's what we have on the Nigerian Tribune. And of course, we say we have this. It says we didn't alter tax laws. The federal government has got that to say. We didn't alter tax laws. Diplomatic spot with U.S. on religious violence resolved. Federal government has that to say on the diplomatic spot with the U.S., of course, on religious violence. And we know basically that could bring a lot in terms of how to, close the gap on the violence that we've been facing, of course, in Nigeria, and how we can tackle that headlong has been across the minds of every Nigerian. Basically, if we must make it or do it right, then we must ensure that we all stand together and do the needful to close the gap. Well, this is much can take on the pages of the newspaper. I did tell you that we got a lot today to discuss, basically, as we look at the fiscal year 2026 and the subnational government, talking particularly about the Edo State government, where the Senator Monday Okpebholo-led administration has earmarked some projects for 2026. And of course, it's going to cost money to really embark on these projects. And of course, we look at the proposed 2026 budget that is gulping 939 billion naira. And if you look at it closely, from the 939 billion naira, we have about 420 billion naira earmarked for infrastructural development. Of course, basically for the state to move forward, there needs to be infrastructure development. And of course, I said that 305 billion naira was also earmarked for road construction and rehabilitation. We talk about the need to link roads and of course to have access roads, like the governor did say, looking at the need to decongest the traffic or the bad roads, that leads from our farms to the marketplaces or from the rural to the urban centers. And basically, all of this will demand efforts by the government, and of course, we demand money to embark on this. 305 billion naira. But again, if you look at that huge sum, it's expected that there's budget monitoring. What is the role of the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly in ensuring oversight functions are intact? What's the role of the civil society activists? And of course, what's the role? What's our role as press in making sure that we, spotlight every item that's already been earmarked on the budget, and to make sure that as the monies are allotted into various items, of course, we spotlight it and ensure that optimal performance is noticed. Otherwise, there will be basically need to criticize the government on the performance so far. We will look at the year 2025, where sometimes our minds don't quickly capture how the budget was expended in the year 2025. Do we have 100% budget, optimal performance, or do we have about 75%? All of this will be what we're going to be looking at today, as we'll be joined by political analysts to dissect this across board. To stay. On the Edo 939 billion naira 2026 proposed budget, and well, with this just few days to January 1, a lot needs to be done, by the House of Assembly on appropriation bill in order for it to become a budget. Basically we look at what the Edo State government has christened it as a budget of hope and growth. And of course, joining me to analyze the key sectors that might have received a boost in this appropriation bill is a political analyst, and he is Dennis Osaro Yomari. Big thanks for coming.
Good morning, Mr. Philip. Good morning, fellow viewers.
All right. Yeah. Joining me via Zoom is another political analyst, former SA to the governor of Edo State on political affairs, Shedrack Udugbai. Good morning, Shedrack.
Good morning, Mr. Philip. Good morning, my people of Nigeria.
I wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year in advance. All right, so, well, a whole lot we talk about, and I know you're preparing for Christmas already.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Yes.
just a few days. But some said because of the economic hardship, this year's Christmas should be cancelled.
I don't think so. It's not something we have to cancel. It's something we have to celebrate.
Oh.
Yeah, something we have to really celebrate.
Okay.
So, you know, it's more of a Christian thing, and I feel that we don't have to have enough to celebrate Christmas. It's all about your heart and how you tend to worship your God.
Okay, but let's look generally how government, you know, subnational government, Edo State in chapter, has affected lives to make them even have a feel of Christmas this year, 2025.
Okay. I can speak for my local government and also some of the political appointees from my local government, the council chairman, the Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources and Energy. They have been doing some charity movement in Umunde, sharing bag of rice, chickens, and supporting those less privileged in cash and all to be able to encourage them to participate in Christmas celebration.
Okay.
So kudos to Honorable Washington Osausifo and Honorable Austin Mafidon, the council chairman of Monde local government. And also I won't forget Honorable Casey Osamoyi Unoma is also doing his best.
Okay, well, that's just by the wayside. Basically, we didn't plan this. But well, let's go into the discussion proper. Looking at the 939, that's a whooping sum. 939 billion naira, you know, proposed budget for 2026, and you look at what it comes with, budget of hope and growth, yes. And of course we look at the amount of money allotted to some sectors, you know, that really greets the eyes. What do you see from this appropriation bill before the State House of Assembly by the Senator Mondo Pueblo-led administration? What do you see? Do you see a philosophy that has to do with like continuity in legacies from the past administration to this current administration?
Yeah, I see continuity in legacy, and also I see more to it.
It reflects on the budget?
Yes, it reflects on the budget,
bill?
the proportion bill, and also when you look at the analysis of that budget, you can see vividly that the budget has also invested more, concentrated more on infrastructural development.
Exactly.
And I think that is
got about 420 billion
and 62. Yes,
that's a whooping sum.
That's a whooping sum, of course. Now, the major problem that we are witnessing in Edo State is about infrastructural development, where we have bad roads and some other unemployment. So now, when you look at this infrastructural appropriation bill that is over like 420.62 billion naira, you can understand that what has Pueblo done is to make sure that all infrastructural development, even in future, is being captured under this budget, like road. I think road has a separate one. 305. Road has more of the appropriation budget, which is 305 billion naira.
Yeah,
do you understand?
That's just on its own.
That's just on its own. In terms of federal road, state road, and all the rural and urban sectors in the state, whether we like it or not, even unemployment is under this appropriation bill. Like what Okpebolo has said is, by bringing infrastructure development, building investors, building companies and other parasitas, it can increase employment opportunity for Edo indigenes. So when you have, infrastructure is not all about road. Agriculture fall under infrastructure. Education fall under infrastructure. Health also fall under infrastructure. And what the governor is doing, Mr. Governor, is also working on increasing the Edo State health insurance. So that is why the boost sum of this budget, it is more concentrated in infrastructural development.
Okay. Well, we don't want it to be like a hula baloo, because most especially when it's one thing for us to have this appropriation bill, and of course, which will basically be backed by law and becomes a budget. But it's another to see the performance, of such a budget, because year in, year out, we've seen situations where we are given hope by government. Yes. And what is the yardstick that, well, before I ask you that question, let's get to you, Shedrack Udubai. I want you to tell us how you feel or how you greet the development on the figures before us on the appropriation bill.
In as much as I recognize the facts that people in power must always talk good of their principal and their persons who are just honor bound and duty bound to defend the interest of Mondo Pueblo being governor of the state. I also want us to anchor all of these things on reality, and also want us to understand that governance is for the people. If we are not able to give the very best to the people, then there's no role for governance. There's no basis of this engagement. If we come here to make it look as though all is well when all is not well. When he spoke about infrastructure, as though this is the first time we are seeing infrastructure on a budget, we wonder what happened to the infrastructure that was placed in the 2025 budget. How far did they come? And by you, this is one of the worst administration is sticking to the tenets of a budget. Because we saw that the flyover they did, when the Gbagbo got into office, 3 days after I went to start, flagged up a flyover. That was not captured in the budget. He had not done any budgetary allocations. He just went there whimsically, out of his own personal perception, opinion, and thinking. He gave out billions of dollars in contracts without budgetary allocation, without asking the interest of the Edo people. Say, oh, Edo people, through your representative, is it important? Is it needful? Is it crucial we go in this direction? And yeah, when you now begin to talk that Mondo Gbagbo has put in place a budget that will work, I mean to wonder a man that does not respect budgeting, because a budget is a tool that shows to the people and shows to the God. It's like a meeting point where they come to organize and coordinate their affairs of the next 1 year, because government is all about allocation of finances, treasures and pleasures. What do we do? So in a budget, you state clearly what you want to do in the upcoming year. So the idea of saying that, but because whether you like it or not, I don't want to even discuss so much of the details of the budget, because the budget, samples of the budget are never out. Copies are not yet out. What we had was just a near summary of what they think they will do that was read out in the floor of the house by Monday Okpebholo. And yet the detail of the budget is not out. Even before it was passed, it's not out. One of these things is done in secrecy. There used to be a time I had to track budget on a day-in, day-out basis. During the time of Adasali Oshomole, here we exercise serious pressure that a budget is an open document that everybody ought to have to also ensure that we carry out oversight, because our budget is the only basis that create oversight for the legislative arm of our government. If these things are not clearly stated, that we're going to spend this money here, this money here, this money here, then the legislature will not have any basis of asking you how money is being spent. But what the first thing we saw in Mondo Gbagbo's budget was that he raised so many figures from the budget, 939 billion, 850 million. The other millions, the other hundreds of thousands, those ones were just clearly erased to make it easy for him to pronounce. But that, to a large extent, undermines the purpose of budgeting. If there cannot be accountability, if we cannot trace to the hundreds and the hundreds of thousands and the thousands, that means now that thousand can be stolen without appropriation, because the budget did not capture those other lower figures. I've never seen any budget in Nigeria since the return of democracy in 1990, in any state and in the federation where the budget is being approximated. It shows how porous the system, how decayed the system has become. And most importantly, I didn't want to look so much at what he said he wants to do, because Mondo Gbagbo will eventually do what he wants to do, irrespective of what the budget says. And this House of Assembly does not have the requisite capacity to question Mondo Gbagbo, because Mondo Gbagbo had had a flyover that was not in the budget before. They slept over it as though they were not seeing it. And today he's bringing on that budget. So I do not think that the Legislative House of Assembly, which is empowered by law to carry out legislative oversight, can carry out any form of responsible oversight on this government, because the Mondo Gbagbo government appears to be a god above all the legislatures. And all of them now, instead of taking with their stomach, is taking with their head, they're practically taking with their stomach. Where I fault most clearly is the area of where we get the money to fund the budget. Because what we have, when I looked at the budget very closely, you could say clearly that it was a budget that was pumped up to 939 billion in an attempt to give the impression that Edo State is prospering when Edo State is not. When the government, the developmental indices, economic factors are comatose, Mondo Gbagbo goes behind the door to pump those figures and make it look as though that was going to get, I think it was going to get 480 billion from federal allocation. 160 billion from IGRO, 153 billion from grants and capital expenditure receipts. Then we get the other 164 billion from PPP, that's public-private partnership, where other investors will come and partner with government in building infrastructural works. And no loan, no borrowing. And I looked at it for the first time in a long while. Mondo Gbagbo is bringing a very huge budget, no provision for loan, no borrowing. It was an attempt to deceive Nigerians that they will not be borrowing money. Now, let me look at what he said he wants to bring the money for. 480 billion from FAC allocation. If you divide 480 billion by 12, that is 40 billion per month. Mondo Gbagbo has never received 21 billion. He has never received 25 billion. The highest he has ever received was what he received in September, which is 20 billion naira. How somebody that received 18, 20, 17, 16, 15, 12, sometimes 20. Now go and project that we receive 40 billion every single month in the year 2025. Can we start by lying to ourselves? That you want to spend money you don't have, money you cannot project, money you have no control over. It's the federal allocation under the federal allocation jump from 20 billion to 40 billion every single month in 2025. because the Pueblo wants to make us, they want to deceive us. Money you don't have, if you go to the IGRO, 160 billion. Pay 160 billion by 12. You see that it's about 13.3 billion. Has Mondo Pueblo ever raised 10 billion since he became governor? This one is under his direct control. Is it not gradually growing off? I speak to you now. Federal state IGRO is about less than 5 billion in the state. Struggling. When they tell me went to as low as 4 billion monthly, now when the people had to sack their Atalakpa recovery concept because of the poor enumeration that they were bringing into the states. See, this whole thing is just built on deceit. Whether it is the FAC allocation, whether it is the IGRO, whether it is the grants that Mondo Pueblo wants to go and bring, or is the public private, all of them are all sham. Mondo Pueblo cannot rake in 600 billion.
Okay,
Shedrack,
you've said a lot. You've said a lot, but I must say, let's quickly give room for Dennis Osaro to react to what you said, because he said a lot, and he pinpointed the fact that, you know, some projects earmarked by the governor was not even budgeted for, like the flower project he made mention of, and also talking about the oversight function of the State House of Assembly probably not doing their best, you know, in that regard. He also made mention of, you know, the IGRO and calling it, in summary, a hula baloo for the governor to embark on this, you know, proposal for Edo 2026 budget. What are your thoughts?
Now, you see, the first thing we have to understand is, I understand them that the opposition party will never see anything good that Mondo Pueblo is doing in Edo State. And let me make very, very, very clear that Mondo Pueblo has increased the talent generated revenue of Edo State, and he has also foreseen that an estimated of 160 billion naira will be gotten. Is that, you know, the meaning of an estimated proposal is what you are officially looking at. You understand? That is what Mondo Pueblo has planned in order to be able to achieve that aspect of internal generated revenue.
What about if it doesn't work?
It will work. It will work because there are already amenities and machineries in place
will the government not be looking at borrowing?
To achieve, no, I'll get there, to achieve the internal generated revenue of Edo State. And let me also inform him, if he has forgotten that Edo State is under the SS crude oil for each state. Each of these Niger Delta state has a particular sum of money that they have been gotten from federal government for crude oil sales and all that. So when you look at, they call it oil derivation fund for each of these 6 Niger Delta states. So when you look at that aspect, don't forget there's no longer fuel subsidy. So when you look at this statistic, you see that Mondo Pueblo knows already that, look, this sum of money will be able to actualize it in sponsoring this bill. Now I look at the 420.62 billion naira allocated already from infrastructure. For infrastructure and gotten from federal allocation. Now, when you look at the normal IGRO from, the normal allocation from federal government, look at the oil derivation funds, when you calculate all this together, it's an estimated. So it's either you get there or you are not able to get there. But Mr. Governor also have it in mind that this is what I want to achieve for Edo people, because Edo people have lacked behind in terms of infrastructural development. So now also I look at when you talked about the House of Assembly not be able to question the oversight function. The oversight function. No, that's very wrong. And first of all, let me make it very clear that this set of people were also being sponsored by the past administration. So Mondo Pueblo have no hand in who plays the shots in House of Assembly. Of course, we can see that House of Assembly have been doing their work diligently. I can tell you that House of Assembly have been doing their work diligently. But
don't forget, if after the administration of former Governor Godwin Obaseki,
yes,
some moved to the Progressive Congress, including the Speaker of the State House of Assembly.
Yes.
Are you forgetting the fact?
Of course. When the past administration was there, also the PDP, all the speakers and the speakers and the members were also members of the PDP.
Okay, but
so now,
but what does that tell you? Does that tell you a purpose for which they were voted for to serve the people, or just for, you know, personal gains? Because it brings some correlations of interest.
No, it's served for purpose of serving the people, because when the House is united, works move sporadically. And each of their projects or each of their activities will be attended to sequentially. So now when you see the House of Assembly coming together to work with the state governor, it's a progress of a state. We witnessed under the first tenure of Mr. Godwin Obaseki, where the House of Assembly were being, the roof was pulled off. There were a lot of controversy, catastrophe, fighting between the state governor and the House of Assembly. So that is what we don't want to witness in Edo State anymore. Okay. We want works to be done and unity in performance, in governance in Edo State.
Okay, but well, let's look at let's look at the performance. Yes, you still have the floor.
Yes, quickly. When we look at this appropriation bill, you see that the infrastructural, like I said, the infrastructural part of this bill focus more on education, agriculture, health sector. You understand? Health sector and social services to the people of Edo State. So when you look at agriculture, what and how does the government try to empower our farmers in terms of improving the food production for Edo State and ending insecurity in terms of food, so that in Edo State, in our marketplaces, food can be easily bought by Edo people. Then when you look at the health sector, like I said, Mogopolo is more interested in increasing the Edo State health insurance for Edo people, both for the rural and the urban sector. Then when you look at education, like I said before, under Mr. Governor administration, almost all the state institutions, their IGRO has been increased by states sponsoring them to be able to have a frequent education in each of this sector. Abu Salih, for example, earns over 500 million monthly from Okpebholo administration. The Iyamo University of Recent was, I think, over 200 million was also approved for them. When you go to this polytechnic here, those gratuities that was being abandoned by past administration were also paid by Mondo Okpebholo administration. So now when you look at all this categorically, you can see that Mondo Okpebholo means well and has also had emphasis in making sure that Edo people got or get what really food belongs to them. So this budget has a futuristic standard. Okay. I call it a sophisticated budget that tends to empower and tends to liberate Edo from underdevelopment.
Okay. Let's shift our attention again to you, Shadrach, but not to really shake the TV, but to bring in some respite. I know basically that you would like to really antagonize or criticize, you know, the policies and, of course, the budget proposal. But let's look at the amount, you know, that have been earmarked, which you may say you wouldn't want to go into details, but I think I have to give you a nudge to go into that. We have 420.62 billion naira earmarked for infrastructural development, and aside that we have 305 billion naira earmarked for road construction and rehabilitation. If we take our minds back to the previous government under Governor Rafael Obaseki, don't you see this is an uplift?
Mr. Philip Omogikpo, it's an uplift, but it's an uplift on paper. And you see, Nigerians should wake up from reality. It is good for us to defend government. It is good for us to not make anybody look like a devil, anybody is not performing poorly. But it's also good for the people to enjoy the dividends of democracy. You know, when we are speaking about infrastructure has places for infrastructure, I begin to laugh. See, Mr. Philip, the basis on which you plan is anchored on the available resources. You can't be any 10,000 and you are planning to spend 100,000 in next year. And you want me to celebrate that you are spending 100,000 when I know your salary is a meager 10,000 naira. In annual, your salary for the whole year is 10K, and you are projecting to spend 100,000, and you are looking at how beautiful the things you will buy with 100,000, and you want me, Shedaku, to buy to join to celebrate and be happy. All of those things does not account. See, Mondo Okpebholo has not attracted any meaningful investment to Edo State. No name, no destination. The investment we have in Edo State that ought to grow our IGRO and boost income, Mondo Okpebholo is destroying them, preventing them from opening and sacking them. Today, there is no electricity across the full state. Businesses are closing down. There is nobody who is speaking of development that is speaking of Edo, and yet you want me to be happy about infrastructure development. What exactly are the infrastructure? One flyover in Rama Park that was not budgeted for, as for Assembly did not assent to it. We never told him we needed it. It didn't go through procurement process. Everything was done through backdoor. Is that the kind of infrastructure should be celebrating in this modern time? The other one in Adesua that is totally not needed. What exactly do you want me to celebrate in terms of infrastructure? Which road, apart from those two flyovers that Mondo Okpebholo tied in those that there's more than 5 kilometers, that you said they have budgeted so much on that Shedaku should celebrate and felicitate to him for? The roads he has done, the longest he has done is 7.9 kilometers. And that's the road in Udomi, his village. The agricultural farm he did is in Udomi. The 20 billion he has projected for water park is in Udomi. So when you say infrastructure, many of the schools, the best school Mondo Okpebholo has built was the one he built in his village. He attached a big school. He also has a staff quarter. Point another school for me that Mondo Okpebholo built that has staff quarter in his school. See, I don't want to make the government look bad. But the truth is this, we cannot continue to feed in life. If Montebello say IGRO has grown, on what basis has it grown? As is it the Atalakpa recovery concept that is not gathering money for him, that is making the money boost, or the one he has sacked? And for a couple of months, when Dennis, Dennis is my man. And as much as I appreciate the fact that he wants to keep talking for APC, so that I don't want him to grow in APC, but we are friends. He used to hear my voice sometime before he crossed over. And I appreciate the fact that he's coming out and he's speaking. So I don't want to. He should also call figures because we are not stupid. When he's calling somebody as a mark promised to spend 430 billion infrastructure. I will tell you. However, look at how possible. Can he do it? Does he have the required facility to do it? You are saying IGRO has grown. He has grown from where to where? And where are you getting your data from? I will never call a figure to deceive Nigerians. I will know who do people who are listening to me because I have public trust to ensure that I tell them what is obtainable and what is anchored on reality. The more that was supposed to open, that would have boosted the IGR of Edo State, having tourists coming to lodge and spend money in the state, having also at least, but the people stopped it for opening. The Radisson Blue, that was the first hotel that would have attracted tourists. Your Shoma Power Plant, that was supposed to boost investments, make people spending money. Now we don't have the things to buy. So what are we talking about? Are we stupid? Are we children? And when the people will come and tell us that we are developing, well, we know we are not developing and we're celebrating on the Pueblo. That's our assembly. They have the right, they have been doing well. I don't want to open the chapter of the assembly because those ones for me, I said they are ones that are overstaffed. People who receive over 2 billion every single month. To think for the people so that they can carry out legislative oversight and cooking, so that the executive will be able to sit up and administer governance on the defects of the people. They don't think about the people anymore. They jump from one party to another. They speak from both sides of their mouth. Anything on the people say they want to do, that's what they do. All the inadequacies, the inconsistencies in government, they don't address any of them. They know some of the people, don't do this, do this. No, that's not the interest. The interest is, okay, let us go back. In 2025, Montebello presented a budget of 670 billion. Guess what? There was no room for borrowing. But in only less than 4 months, I think by March or June, Montebello went to borrow 100 billion. And this same House of Assembly gave them approval to borrow 100 billion. A budget that has not gone up to 6 months, he borrowed 100 billion. Whether you like it or not, this same one, when the government went up funding it in China, Edo State cannot boast of a budget of 600 billion, cannot boast of 500 billion, let alone 979 billion. It's a sham. I can't be celebrating what does not exist. And if they say it exists, they should release the copy, the re-copy of the budget. Let me have it. Let me have the re-copy of the budget that details how every penny is going to be spent. So that when it comes again next year, I'll be able to ask him clearly, this one and this one and this one, was it done or was it not done? They won't give you a copy of the budget. They are withholding it. It is summary they as it was, they will tell us. And without summary, you cannot carry out legislative oversight. So whether there is somebody who wants to defend APCO, whether they want to defend APCO, ask him if the budget, the resources to fund that budget is available and where they will get it from. A man is doing 20 billion, they will receive 40 billion. We're talking about derivation. How much is the 30% derivation? Let us not give ourselves. Let's just relax. Let us watch. It's so sad that we have come to a point in time where they've given us a monarchical system of government under the chariot of democracy. But the governor does whatever he wants, how he wants, when he wants, to whomever he wants. And yet the House of Assembly cannot do anything. Nigerian people has no stake. See, if you know how important a budget is, it's not something we're going to be discussing on what the Pueblo says. See, a budget is the next source of governance. It's the primus res. It's the center, it's the core on which Montebello will proceed. Without that budget, Montebello cannot spend a penny. Because if that budget is not approved, it can't spend without approval. But here we see that budgets are approved without details, with their approximated figures, without recourse to where the money is coming from. But the Pueblo is not interested in building a state revenue so that it can appropriate more to governance. It's destroying what we have on ground and it's telling us that it's prospering. But I guess, what about budget performance? Did anybody speak about budget performance this last time? You may probably tell us this is what we have done. Because when you're presenting a new budget, like Obaseki did, when you're going to present, he will tell you what he has done in the last one and what he intends to do. This budget totally ended last year. We have completed the implementation of that last budget. But the government does not have time to go into those meetings because the House of Assembly cannot call him to order. So for us, I just feel that they need to keep speaking on these issues this government is heading for the rocks. It started its secrecy. It's been organized like a cabal. Whatever you say is immaterial. But the government does not give room for constructive criticism, does not give room for superior argument. It does not like alternate opinions. It does what it wants, how it wants it. For me, it's fine. It can continue like that.
Okay, Shedrack, I know you belong to the opposition, but I would have wanted you to be objective in this aspect, most especially how we can move Edo State forward. But, well, I'll be asking you the next question relating to that. But, well, let's look at what the proposal comes with and how realistic these budgetary allocations are, like, most especially as regards addressing unemployment and poverty in Edo State. Yes. Food security, and all that, it seems to be taking about 68 billion naira. So how realistic is that?
Like I said before, I wouldn't mind what he's saying because the opposition will never see anything good that Mr. Governor is doing in Edo State today. But let me make it very clear that this budget is very realistic, and also the part of unemployment is there. When you mention, I think you said 96 to 96 billion naira for employment opportunities and other social activities.
About 116 billion.
Over 116 billion naira. Yeah. So now, when you look at this, you see that the unemployment rate that Mundo Okpebholo met, it is what is affecting Edo people today. Now, what the governor is trying to do is trying to open room for employment opportunities for youth empowerment scheme and other social activities to boost and to reduce poverty rates in Edo State. Look at what he did. In the past few months, we have a record where the governor have employed over 5,000 teachers. That was not captured in the previous budget, but it's captured in this present budget under the education sector. And also, when you look at that, you look at it very clearly. You see where it stated that more health practitioners will be employed to boost health activities and health functions in all various health facilities in Edo State. That also was included in the budget. Then when you look at youth empowerment, most of our youth talked about entertainment industry, talked about financial empowerment, talked about scholarship and all that. They were also talked about sport as well. Mundo Okpebholo is very interested in Edo State sport activity. They were also captured under social activities. Then when you look at the agricultural sector as well, most of the farm sectors that Mundo Okpebholo made, they were being abandoned. Tractors were being rented from private individuals. But what the government is doing now, for us to secure food production in Edo State, we have to produce, we have to purchase. You understand? We have to produce and purchase agricultural amenities or agricultural activities in order to secure our food production in Edo State. Now, the government bought a lot of tractors and also want to establish different farm sectors within the 3 senatorial districts over more than 500 acres of land in terms of food production. It was also captured under the infrastructure proposed bill. Okay, but when you look at the renovation and re-establishment of various schools, like he said, he was more focused in the Okpebholo community. Rather, I can tell you over 30 to 40 schools have been renovated in Edo State, put together in Edo South, in Edo Central, in Edo North. They were all captured under the infrastructure bill parts under the infrastructure proposed bill. So now, when you look at this, the spontaneous and the largety of this bill, you see that there's, like I said before, there's a futuristic plan and a futuristic advantage of this bill, and it is very realistic and it's very clear. So also, the first quarter of 2026, Edo will witness magnificent change. Edo will witness massive change and infrastructure development in Edo State that I've never witnessed before since 1999 in Edo State. Now, why is Mundo Okpebholo infrastructure be over 420.62 billion naira, and the road part of it had 305 billion naira in terms of road rehabilitation and reconstruction, because the past administration abandoned most of the road in Edo State. That is the problem we are facing today. Go to GRA, there's no road. A government that have barely spent a year in office met dilapidated, condemned, no road in Edo State, and they are still speaking. What happened to infrastructure development on our Obaseki? What did the past administration did or have done with the infrastructure proposed bill of the last year? He met dilapidated road,
of course. But it's been a year in government.
And now he has been doing much. when you go to Sapele Road, like he said the Sapele Road deserved no flyover. I just laughed because me, I live there, so I'm a testament of what Monday Okpebholo is doing in Sapele Road. Without that flyover, you can spend over 5 to 6 hours in Adesua. I think you know Adesua Junction, where there's a conjunction of traffic there. You can spend over 5 to 6 hours. You can be there from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And that brings about a huge loss of manpower.
That bridge also created employment opportunity. We don't have to forget that. Employment opportunity for our youth, those people in that environment. And when that bridge commences operation, you see that it will have to discongest those hold up and all that traffic.
Basically, I was there on Saturday when I was coming from Delta State.
Yes.
It was a challenge, the congestion, and I expect that after the project has been, completed, that congestion will be eased off. Basically, because we tried, applying other routes into the GRA, but the GRA axis, all the routes we met were blocked. Because there were a lot of activities,
that is what the governor saw.
If this comes up, we just hope that it eases, this congestion that we are really looking at as a challenge, because it brings about a huge loss of manpower if we have these, congestions. But it's in that light I want to also come to you, Shadrach, because we look at the challenges, the congestions on our roads, most especially the aspect you were criticizing at Sapele Road axis. I was there on Saturday, and it was a very huge one. The congestions that come up in such axis, don't you see this as a way to ameliorate that congestion?
Mr. Philip, you're a very intelligent man. So I don't want to believe that the man sitting next to you is trying to intoxicate you with some APC syndrome where they try to substitute intelligence for foolery. See, when you've been in Benin for a long while, have you ever spent 4 to 6 hours in Sapele Road, Adesua, Sapele Road, Adesua, Joshua, as your man there had alleged, before construction? Yeah, construct the road now. That's why they were the one who scattered the road, destroyed it. I mean, look as though there's a hollow balu. See, I don't understand how you want us to proceed with this emptiness, open lies. That Adesua road, have you ever gone to Upper Adesua? That road was, since I was born, nobody drives after that Upper Adesua. It was in Obaseki Ribojo, that road. There are many dangerous roads in those states that Obaseki did silently and calmly. The man is speaking, there's no road in Jari. See, you see, this whole thing, it's very funny because I don't want to be discussing budget with somebody who's not in government, who cannot answer the questions. He did not see the budget. Maybe he read on social media or WhatsApp group. They just told him this is what the budget is and he's going to defend it. Same of the better want to spend so much on employment. And I ask, which company is he building? When you say employment, if he's talking about civil service employment, that one falls under recurrent expenditure. Because expenditure is money that we use to service the system. When I talk about capital infrastructure, I don't know how civil service employment becomes capital infrastructural project. I don't know. At least last time I checked, I went to school. They choose not to use school to look at this thing. See, Mr. Philip, this thing is not rocket science. Are we children or are we kidding ourselves? That because he employed 5,000 teachers last year, does he want to employ another 5,000 teachers again this year? When he says we want to provide employment, ask him how many did he do in the year 2025? I don't understand. The Monday Okpebholo creates more than that, about civil service employment. We lost more jobs in terms of public-private partnership. Businesses were closed. Many people who expected that they'll be job in 2025, they lost their job. See, Monday Okpebholo has nothing to offer to Edo State asset clueless governors. If you are ready to join me with facts, come with facts. Do not begin to assume. We are discussing budget headings and amounts. Employment, 630 billion. Because employment is 630 billion or 700 billion, we should be happy. Does it translate to last year? How much was employment heading? How many employment did we get? See, let us not be, I don't understand though. Maybe people want to continue like this in self-deceit. We'll come here, we'll just talk to entertain our visitors. If we don't have anything meaningful to tell the Nigerians, we should play music for them. Let them be listening to music so that when it's a political discussion, they will listen to music and they'll go and rest. Because you've got to be progressing in lies and errors. How can you come here and speak what is not existent? You are calling God that does not exist, no alcohol relation, money you can't earn. You tell us you spend it. One of us said it was going to create 200,000 jobs. We saw the approach. How you now build the Edo State hub He built many businesses up. He built another one that was going to teach ICT, the data center at I think he had the Decagon at Okoromi.
Okay, thank you, Shedrack. Thank you, Shedrack. But I'll be coming to you after this short break so that at least you give us an insight or advice for the government on how you want to go about it so that it will be able to tackle this situation headlong. Because all you've been saying has been opposing the government. But I know basically you could give us advice or the government advice on that. So we do that after this short break. Do stay. Well, we're gradually bringing our conversation from the Benin Network Center to a close. So we've been looking at the Edo 939 billion naira 2026 proposed budget. And before the break, Shedrack had the floor. But Shedrack, I want to ask you a pertinent question concerning how you see the state moving forward. What do you see as should be injected into governance, and what do you see the governor doing to make sure that at least some plights are changed in a way that it meets your expectation?
If I'm to be very, very honest with you, I've lost complete confidence in Monday Okpebholo's administration as regards to good governance. The man is a politician. He appears to be good. Perhaps maybe it's a few persons from his own ethnicity who want to survive and enjoy. But for the what we call democracy, the index for measuring good governance, which is delivering the greatest good to the greatest number, I have lost confidence. And if you want me to advise him, the best advice I have for Monday Okpebholo is for him to resign. Because if he resigns, both himself and the people will prosper. So if he resigns, that's the best advice I have. Because I cannot begin to tell a man, say you can wake somebody who is sleeping, but you cannot make a person who is pretending to be asleep. Monday Okpebholo has done for the last 1 year. I've watched his government very closely. After this 1 year now, there's no good time to work, because for the whole of 2027, it will be 2026. It will do 2027 politics, and in 2027, it will do 2028 politics for him to return. So the 1 year, the best 1 year he has to work is the one he has spent already. And in that one, he was heavily distracted by 2.5 million votes for Asiwaju. So if he resigns, that's the best thing that can happen to Edo State now. Is a heave of relief. Is a signal for good governance. So Monday Okpebholo should just resign. Let us proceed with good governance.
Well, that's quite a very terrible decision or opinion you have there. But well, let's just quickly say the opinions shared on this platform are opinions of the makers and not that of independent television. How do you react to his opinion, basically?
His opinion is a bitter one. I will tell you, his opinion is a bitter one. It's personal to him. But Edo people who voted for Monday Okpebholo have saw and are prosperous already in terms of what Monday Okpebholo have been doing.
But you drew an analogy. I don't want you to forget that analogy too. Because he said the governor has done what he would have performed at best would have been the 1 year that he did. Because in the year 2026, he will be a politicking for the 2027 presidential election, and of course after that in 2028 we'll be talking about his return and all that. So if you bring that analogy in, does that not really make us to drag our feet basically on the fact that he could be telling the truth?
The 2027 election has nothing to do with Monday Okpebholo infrastructural development of Edo State. I'm telling you today, you have to believe me. Like I said before, all the companies and developmental infrastructural things that was put in place. Took the past administration 8 years. He made mention of Radisson Blue, which is not completed yet. He made mention of MOA, which is also under investigation. He made mention of some other infrastructure development that was done by the past administration. This infrastructure development took 8 years from the past administration to see the light of the day. Until today, Radisson Blue is still under construction.
Though they say 70% completed.
Have you seen it opened? Have you seen it operated? No. So now the question we should be asking is, how does Monday Okpebholo tend to transform Edo State within the next 4 years? Not focusing on 2027 election and 2028 election. Now the governor has put in place a categorically budgeted bill which talks about creation of job, talked about agricultural development, talked about health sector development, talked about social amenities, which also fidgeted into creating security for Edo State today. Yeah, like I said, the budget also captured the payment under the concurrent bill, the payment of security agencies. Under the past administration, those security agencies acted with humanitarian support.
Okay, but in previous years, optimal performance of the budget has been thrown to the trash can.
That was the previous administration.
So,
now, but in this
let's talk about the 2025, for instance.
Yes.
Let's talk about the 2025, for instance. How has it performed?
Now, the performance of that bill has been so clearly,
of the budget, I mean?
Of the budget has been so clearly carried out by the government.
You can't say 100%
now, let me list,
was actualized.
Yes,
probably you could say 55%.
No, 85% was actualized by the 2025 budget. By
what yardstick did you use?
Now, let me use the yardstick. Tractors, if you go to the environment, the Department of Environment, Sanitation in Edo State, a lot of tractors was being bought to have Edo clean, like the every monthly sanitization of Edo State was also fidgeted inside or fused inside the 2025 budget. The acquisition of agricultural tractors.
Okay, but I made mention. Okay, I don't want you to be political.
No,
I don't want you to be political.
I'm saying these things, they are visible to the blind. Okay. It's everywhere.
But let's look at accountability in governance. Is it the responsibility of the governor to give account of the 2025 budget and how it was expended before looking at the 2026?
Of course. Okay. And Monday Okpebholo did that in the past, in the presentation of the 2026
as in retiring
and having discussion with the House of Assembly member. He is not a member of Edo State House of Assembly, so I don't expect him to know much. Like he said, he perused through online, Facebook, and other newspaper to get his information. He's not a member of Edo State House of Assembly. He's not in any committee to be able to understand and oversee the functions or the activities that the House of Assembly took in order for them to get accountability of the governor activities. Now, don't forget, as at last month, Mr. Speaker Agbebaku went oversight function to oversee some of the critical projects in Edo State. By oversight function, you're already actualizing and having accountability of what the governor said he's doing with Edo State resources.
Okay, can we talk about the full roads he completed in the year 2025?
Now, Monday Okpebholo is not in a yeast, you understand? In the ace, rather, in the ace to commission project to gain public sympathy. Rather, what the governor is doing, it is making sure that this project as standard takes over 50 years guarantee.
But that aside, you can't tell me that roads have not been completed in the year 2025.
He has over 27 to 30 kilometer roads from Edo North, from Edo Central and Edo South. In only my community alone, we see he has 13.9 kilometer road
that have been completed.
That is going under construction. Ongoing. Now, all of these road projects, they are not
and these projects have been IMAC'd.
And not a 6 months project that when you do it, that's how the past administration embezzled money and brought Edo to a dilapidated state of no road network.
You have been political this time.
Most of the road that was constructed under the past administration didn't see a year light rather than this road did not last a year. So now what the government is doing, check Sapele, almost all the road, even the bypass houses that lead to Obagia and all that, those roads had constructed with concrete and reinforcement that will last 20 to 30 years. Which of this road was done by the past administration that took such measure in order for this road to last? Rather, when you construct a road, in the next 1 month, you apply again that you want to construct that road. That is embezzlement, and it has brought Edo to a state of dilapidated.
What about the Gele Seaport project?
That was under the past administration.
Is they abandoning it? Is the Modokpelo government abandoning it or continuing on that?
The past administration had to give an account of the money spent there.
Otherwise, there's a hold on that.
There's a hold on there.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Like you said, government is all about accountability, right? Now, let's ask Honorable Cedric, what are the accountable activities or the accountable process that the past administration did? Before Okpebholo was sworn in, the past governor flew out from the state. Why? Did he give an accountability? Did he give an accountability of most of those projects?
Cedric, quickly, before we roll the curtains on this, quickly respond to what Dennis said.
You know, when you want to lie, you tell people can believe. When you just choose to lie from the bush, they make it look as though we are daft or we are dull, is irritating. He made one useless statement that Modokpebholo is the one tying Sapele Road and is doing concrete pavement on the floor. The question I want to ask him, on which budget, if you think you are smart too, I've said that Modokpebholo is doing nothing in Sapele Road apart from begging the president to come and work. Modokpebholo has not awarded anything, and Modokpebholo cannot award any contract on Sapele Road. If Modokpebholo awarded contractor a work to do in Sapele Road, which budget was it captured? Is it the State of Assembly that gave Modokpebholo, that awarded which budget that Modokpebholo was captured? Modokpebholo will use state resources to repair Sapele Road, the federal government road. On which budget? 2025 budget or 2026 budget? See, you can choose to be stupid, but those people will never be stupid. Modokpebholo is not repairing Sapele Road, cannot repair Sapele Road, and there was no budgetary allocation. If Modokpebholo went on his own volition to give one of his cronies Sapele Road to repair, the Modokpebholo ought to go to jail now. If that legislative assembly is working, the Modokpebholo spends a penny of our resources repairing Sapele Road without approval from Edo people. Modokpebholo should be cooling off in jail. What's this man talking about? That Modokpebholo is one repairing Sapele Road. Modokpebholo does not have any road to show. You're telling us he's working on Sapele Road. Modokpebholo is not the one doing Sapele Federal Government Road. It's a lie. He said it's 30 kilometers. See, why will he just open his mouth and bring out useless figures? That 2025 budget, the successful implementation was 85%. Where did he get 85% from? That Modokpebholo is doing a 20.9 kilometers of road in Nwode. Does the road not have name? See, let us relax. Let us relax. We know governors too well to be deceived by this poor performing government. If Modokpebholo wants to work, he should work. We'll see it. He should not lie. That is one to do Sapele Road or now begin to take guys on that federal government project. That one will not be accepted. Please, let us be guided.
Let me ask you this pertinent question also as regards the Gele project. You know, the former governor of Edo State, Governor Obaseki, was on it. And you heard what Dennis Osaro said, that there's need for him to give account of what has been expended. But seemingly, that project seems, it's not ongoing. So what do you have to say in that regard?
You know, that project to large extent, a building or the construction of a seaport is a humongous project. Gordon Obaseki has cited it and he had inspired it, and to a large extent, it's work in progress. A lot of things have been done in that regard. If I checked for that, if we were coming to discuss Gele, I would have brought you all of the facts that we needed. I've discussed about it a time ago. How many of those facts and figures are normal? I cannot speak without facts and figures. I will come and talk how I feel. I will tell you what is there. Obaseki has done very well. I will tell you he has done very well. Not done very well. Tell you not very well. They are always wanting to interrogate what Gordon Obaseki has done. Even the more that you are seeing there that is completed, they are fighting it. Rising Blue that is not going, they are fighting it. Ocean Power Plant, they are destroying it. They should keep destroying it. Even the Command Control Center that Obaseki did completed, they are fighting it. So let us not relax. Where is Modokpebholo's aircraft company that he said was going to bring to Edo State? That was the first project Modokpebholo was going to bring. A company that was going to be coupling aircraft. Where I said that Modokpebholo, who does not want it takes to couple bicycle in Edo State, wants to start by coupling aeroplanes. Where is that company? I have the tape, I have the clip. It was covered by ITV. Modokpebholo said he wants to build a helicopter and an aeroplane company where they will be coupling aeroplane. They will manufacture aeroplane in Edo State. Where is the company? Ask him about that one too.
Well, thank you, Cedric. Well, let's get your thoughts basically as we draw the curtains. We have this aspect of insecurity, you know, and what is the aspect, what is the drive of the government in terms of policy direction? Because we look at other states like in Enugu, for instance, where the governor deployed drones, that would help to surveil the state and even beyond. And some have said we should have a replica of that in Edo State. But what do you see as the budget, in terms of tackling this? Do you see the budget closing this, or the proposed budget,
yes,
closing this gap?
Of course. The proposed budget, like I have analyzed before, I said when you look at it very closely, you see that the proposed budget already cited how insecurity will be dealt with. Like previously, like I said before, over 105,000 security personnel were employed, and we are looking towards having over 4,000 of them, and also providing security measures or security apparatus, security technology for them to be able to tackle this insecurity in terms of kidnapping, in terms of cultism and all that. And also, there are already policies in place that are going on in order for them to be able to mitigate the issue of kidnapping and cultism in Edo State. So like I said before, Edo State people will be prosperous in 2026.
But
the first quarter of the year,
it's one thing for you to say this, because this could be political. But again, are you not aware of the fact that some of these monies may be misappropriated, and at the end, projects not really backed upon? So what will be the conviction of the Edo people that all of these items on the budget or proposal will be really implemented to the fullness?
Of course, like we have said, I don't see the aspect in which you always say I speak politically. It's not totally true. I speak with facts. You understand? I speak with facts. Monopogol is an accountable leader. And also most of all these activities, or most of these proposed budgets, infrastructure development, concurrent bill and others will be actualized. Let's not forget that a budget is an estimated and a futuristic proposal that tends to be achieved or tends to be actualized. And let me make it very correct to him. Rather, Honorable Udugbe should understand that when you are deliberating on state policy, you don't have to be bitter. You have to speak with fact rather than attacking personality. And also, let me make it very clear. Let me also ask him, where is the airport that was proposed in Edo North under the past administration by Governor Nogogase?
Before you ask him that question, he asked you a question about the aircraft company.
Of course, when you are trying to establish an infrastructure, a company that has to do production and that has to do with rehabilitation, recomposing of aircraft, it passed through policy. The governor has said it last year, and this is just 2026. So let's give the governor a benefit of that.
Are you saying it's not a white goose chase?
It's not a white goose chase. Of course, it has to take time through policy generation, agreement, and other necessary documentation that has to back it up.
So when can we actually be saying this? I know you're not, I don't know, but can you just give us an idea when all of this will be happening?
Of course, the governor will definitely inform Edo people when that policy being actualized and being approved.
Maybe at the end of the second tenure?
Maybe at the end of the first tenure.
The first tenure.
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's get your reaction, Shedrack, because he seems to have answered the question, but he also asked you another question. I don't know if you got that rightly, and we want you to ventilate.
No, you know, there's no more time. But please just let me ask you. I said something he asked him. That if Monday Okpebolo is repairing Sapele Road with Edo State money, was it budgeted for? We should answer that one. So let us know exactly, because he's making it look as though that we don't know what we are saying when we say Okpebolo is not doing jack. When was it budgeted for? Is it 25 budget that the House of Assembly approved the renovation of Sapele Road, a federal road, by Edo State resources? Let him answer that. I want to ask about the airport like he said, the proposed airport. Was it budgeted?
Thank you, Shedrack. Big thanks for taking time to be part of this. We really extended the time beyond what we should have. But big thanks, Shedrack. We hope you oblige us in our next outing on TMI. Big thanks, Dennis Osaro Oyomari. Big thanks for taking our time to be part of this. And this is where we'll call it a wrap. We'll now be joining Charity Tanko of Abuja Network Center for their conversation. Do stay.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
That's
about...
what I said. So
that's...
when they bullied her, now, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused or you see signs...
Thank you for staying with us. It's still CMI, and this is the Abuja Network Center, where we're going to be having a conversation on the 5 trillion naira President Tinubu projected for 2026 as security budgets. We're exploring the move to establish forest rangers and states. We all know that during the presentation to a joint session of the National Assembly, President Bola Tinubu made it clear that for any nation to grow, to develop and to enjoy growth in all aspects of its sectors, there has to be a stable security. And the 5.41 trillion naira, which has been for security and defense for the 2026 budget, according to the federal government, is part of such moves towards tackling insecurity in the country. And many people have said that it is the largest allocation for security budget so far. I will be joined in this conversation with my colleagues from Benin Network Center, where we will be having this conversation together, looking at it vis-a-vis how is this budget going to translate into practical works that will ensure that Nigerians go to bed with their 2 eyes closed. And not to forget the other part of the state policing, which we know that there are some Nigerians that are still kicking against it. And then at the forest rangers, because we know this is also one of the places that they call the ungoverned areas in the country, where these bandits, terrorists, kidnappers, that is where they hide. They have made it their heaven, and that is why it is from those places that they carry out activities. Which was my colleague from the Center, Philip, where we share matter together.
ITV, certainly the best.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
That's
about...
what I said. So
that's...
when they bullied her, now, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see where they are dressing them or are dragging on both sides, you cannot you cannot breathe. And these women would stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
The Ekoko masquerades from Ute village, whose cult is connected with Obaeware and his mother, Elere, appear on this occasion to bless the Oba. Ekoko is a ritual masquerade that dances to please the guests and the Oba.
Welcome back. It's still the program this morning on ITV. Like I said earlier on, we are discussing the 5.1 trillion naira budgeted in the 2026 appropriation bill for security and we shall be having this conversation with my colleague from Benin Network Center, Philip.
To know that you're basically on this because we are currently wrapping the year 2025, and the questions on our minds are basically how the 2026 is going to be like, looking at the fiscal documents, the national, of course, sub-national government. We understand the fact that insecurity has been impoverishing every sector in Nigeria, and it's upon this national government to ensure that, you know, it is beefed up. And looking at the fiscal document before us, well, the humongous amount for security, you know, tackling insecurity. Again, we look at the sincerity of purpose of government. Year in, year out, we keep seeing this document rolling out. And basically, how has performance been in the light of, you know, monitoring and giving account of, you know, performance of such a huge amount of money given or given attention to for tackling insecurity? Now, some have said that there seems to be, you know, a sabotage somewhere. You know, by the time that the government is saying, you know, negative trends coming in spite of the efforts it makes in tackling insecurity, they call it political, that the opposition is at it again. But again, let's ask ourselves the basic questions, you know. The huge amount of money all voted in for tackling insecurity, how effective has it been? What can we say has been the challenge in terms of, you know, not being able to mitigate or close the gap in terms of tackling insecurity? So, Charity, sometimes we always look at this aspect of the government, you know, giving lip services and not really, you know, hitting the issue headlong as it should be. Some have said basically that going forward that there should be a naming of those who sponsor these insecurity activities, and some of them could be, you know, in power. Some of them could be politicians, and they are going freely, scot-free, without being, you know, prosecuted. Again, I think is just more than what we see in the fiscal document. But what exactly can be done in tackling this issue? It's a big question still begging for answers. Charity.
To be fair to the president, to be fair to the federal government, Tinubu did say now has banditry and bandits and kidnappers will be treated as terrorists. This is a matter that has been ongoing for years. So what it then means is that should any kidnapper or any bandit be arrested now, the person as a terrorist. And he also said the reason for this huge amount for and defense is so that the federal government can beef up security architecture in the country. The federal government is looking at having more sophisticated gadgets to fight security. You know, before now it has been more manpower than gadgets. But now the federal government is taking a look at modernized weapons, to be looking at fighting security more with technological gadgets than human being. And for me, I would say, while it is not yet uhuru, but we shouldn't be quick to throw out whatever it is that the federal government has made before. And then there's one thing again that President Bola Tinubu keeps talking about, the fact that he has given state governments the go-ahead to establish state police, and also there's going to be what they call the forest rangers. This security personnel are going to be strictly in charge of the forest, and these forests have been taxed the ungoverned areas of the country. I share in your sentiment as well, because this is what Nigerians are already saying. And Just yesterday, the opposition party, the ADC, came out to say that the 2026 budget is going to be generations in debt. Well, in order for this not to become true, the federal government needs to do more. Nigerians need to feel the impact of free financial documents that has been presented. Nigerians need to feel the impact of every amount of money that has been budgeted for or appropriated for a particular sector. For this, Nigerians are hopeful that going forward, they can go to bed and sleep with their two eyes closed. If you're traveling on road, you don't have to go with a rosary. You don't have praying and praying that these people do not kidnap you on the road. And whatever it is, we want to believe that things are going to be better again, Philip. So for me, I would like to be hopeful and to be optimistic that things are going to get better. And as for naming those behind this activities, Nigerians have it for their names, because even some state governments have come out to say that they know these people. You have their names, so why are you not naming them? Why are their names not in the public domain so that Nigerians can see them, can know them? This could, they may even be some people who are, there could even be people representing people in whatever capacity. But I think the auditors, since you've been saying that you know these people, that there are people behind this, they are financiers and all that particular documents that got leaked out, but it was later, for some reason it disappeared, and they said that that document was just the machinations of the opposition party to cause trouble. But I totally agree with you that we should have the names of those kidnapping, banditry, terrorism, whatever in the country. That will concrete step, and that will be another way government will begin to have the trust of Nigerians.
Yeah, thank you, Charity. Basically, that's the way to go, if you ask me. Every day I wake up and I still see these issues, on the pages of the newspaper about insecurity, bedeviling my beloved country. We look at the need for us to bring about investment. We keep hearing about the government, or the nation-state government, at the national level, embarking on one boring spiel or the other. But if we set our home in order, we basically may not need to even borrow externally. Because you look at the need to tackle insecurity, it brings about investors. But if the nation state is bedridden, seen as a hotbed for insecurity, who's going to come and invest? But, well, just on a blue page, we can say that under the present leadership, there seems to be some, hope coming in respect of tackling insecurity. But it's not yet uhuru, like you did put it. And you spoke about the state policing, of course, forest rangers. All of these discussions have been on, even for over a decade. The need to have state policing. But there seems to be this, drag between the national and the subnational government on the state government, taking advantage or undue advantage of the state police, if they are to embark on it. But good enough, let's give tracted effort. And I just government and of course even the National Assembly will do the needful. But again, we look at the aspect of making sure that we are our brothers keepers. We talk about community security, surveillance, and this is a festive period where everyone will have to watch his brother's back. In your community, whatever you do, community policing is the way to go. And if all of these are put together, it's going to go a long way to help tackle the aspect of insecurity. And basically, I just hope that 2026 will bring in a fresher air for us, Charity, in this aspect of tackling insecurity, most especially looking at the huge amount, earmarked for tackling insecurity. Basically, you spoke about the aspect of surveillance. Technology is the way to go, information gathering, in a technological-driven way. That's the way to go. Because if I'm to put into consideration what even happening in Enugu State by Peter Mbah as the governor, it's also another thing to talk about, that we can also say that governors of subnational should also, imbibe and take away from. A situation where even the governor embarked on drones deployment that will help surveil the state, keep the state in surveillance and beyond.
in order to tackle criminality. You know, all of these captures up there will help surveil, give surveillance and give direction to our security agents on where all of this, you know, criminality and insecurity are really, you know, terrained. And we can't say that as a people, we don't know where these people are. We can't say that as law enforcement agents, we can't find where they are. We can't say as an army put together, the Nigerian army can't find where they are. It's just a matter of, you know, politics being played, if you ask me, basically. Well, we just hope, like I said earlier, 2026 should be a fresher air for us. Charity.
The discussion much for this. And I really feel that everything will be sorted out by the federal government concerning the security in this country. At this point, we are handing over to the Lagos studio for the continuation of the program.
Many thanks for joining us, and of course, if you just joined, the continue with your current affairs and news CMI, reaching you live from our Lagos Network Center, the RTV network. I'm Joshua Okat, of course, as usual. I have my co-anchor, Gabriel Spratt. How are you?
I'm very well, Josh. Thank you this morning, and good morning out there. I'm going to be wishing Christmas in advance.
Without wasting much time on the program this morning, would be a call made by the U.S. President Trump, his ambassadors, if you like, from Nigeria, of course, 20 has really how much concern and questions answered as regards what Washington is up to. Some are asking, is this display, power play, or what exactly are we seeing in terms of the halting of envoys and ambassadors, and of course other countries? Could this be a replacement of voices, especially cutting across these countries and Nigeria inclusive? To have this conversation this morning, we're being joined by Dr. Ochie Casey Emmanuel, who is a vice chairman in West Senatorial District. Good morning and thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy Christmas, viewers.
All right, now let's go into our conversation, because of course we'll be looking at what impact have on Nigeria's diplomatic, relations, both politically and of course economically. Now, let me first on your reaction seeing these actions taken by the U.S. president amid other actions again, which also the visa restriction, one of those. So what's your take regards this bold step that the president in the United States of America is taking recently?
Good morning, Jose.
You're welcome.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Good morning, viewers. My reaction, like other Nigerians, is just an overcall of the ambassadors. Why? We need other countries. This is when Nigeria needs diplomatic agreements with US, Europe, and other developed countries. As you can see, we are into a problem like security, poverty, so many things. This very juncture, I think, is very unbearable for an ordinary Nigerian. So the real Nigerians is very, very negative based on that.
Nigerians are saying that this recall is not so much to make them feel bad, especially they've been given to the White House for assignments, that the president is more persons who would represent their country, America, first in the agenda. Is this in line with America instead by recalling them?
Yes. How? Every president has his own thing that he wants to do, his own programs. So Donald Trump wanted a first agenda. That's the first thing he wanted. And in Africa, he's recalling about 50 Africa. So they want to line an agenda that fits his recall that in 2004 July was the time Richard Miles was appointed. So he has been in office for over a year and 6 months. And by January, he will be going to the US. So Donald Trump to realign his foreign policies to actually fall in place into what he wanted to do. So these ambassadors, most of them were appointed by Biden during his administration. So to do well, he has to bring time to his own vision and mission. Think to America for them, but for some of the countries in the world, I think is something that we are unlike what is going to happen next.
So, but if this is all about America first, also you alluded to the fact that these appointees were from the previous administration, which I agree with, but they still have their tenure till January
2026. But why halt them?
No, it's not a hurt, because maybe they cannot align to his ideas, and he has ideas of some of these countries like Nigeria. We want to say about the effect. It has a security concern, especially for Nigeria and West Africa countries, and somehow we say we have it can destruction of visas. People no more have access. Maybe people in the US to process their visa, relations of trade, commerce with Nigerians, security concerns. There are so many disadvantages when it's Nigerian fact. I'm not even to go at part of restriction of some categories of which we are still going to look on. Okay. So, but generally, there are so many fears, especially. So when you look at what is happening now in the country, you see there's a kind of a soil in Nigeria and Washington, and Nigeria is having on the way to bring that diplomatic relations back again. So on Washington, on their own side, they themselves is realigning how to still work with us. You see what happened last week at Nigeria-Benin border. So there has been, America has been there trying to bring steel back through Air Force. So we watch some certain things that is happening. Other nice to us, very big effect. It goes like immigrants. Immigrants, it's been very difficult now to have a visa to America. Imagine B1, B2 type of visas that has to the tourism analysis. So people can no more have access to for tourism in the US, the biggest country in the world or state in the world. Tourism for visa, no businesses. The worst is the MCA. We have that visas. So as a student, it's very difficult to study in America, which is very bad for Nigerians. We are looking at vocational students. So in third world, we want skills. And America is a country that everyone, both Europe, are looking up to. So the part of it is exchange of programs affect even academics, university. So we have exchange of programs. If your student, maybe PhD students want to go abroad, it's difficult to do it. So we will only look to Europe or Asia or Canada or Australia to go and study. But there are certain things you have to, or certain academics that Americans still have to give us, skills that we still need to go and have acquired in America. More of is that category M has to do with the visitors, exchanging of visitors. So if I have a friend in US, the person cannot come over Nigeria and I cannot go over there. So when you look at it, it's a tactical way of telling us that we don't need you.
I guess
you know, he was just speaking, and it was going through my mind of a man who got a job in the US, and he was supposed to go for his visa application and all that, but the company over in the US called it off because of this restriction that Trump has given us here in Nigeria. But anyway, it's a sad one. We hope we'll come out of it very soon. Anyway, Doctor, many Nigerians may not fully grab the significance of this move. How unusual or serious is this action in international relationship? You have mentioned a lot of it, but Nigerians, many Nigerians really do not understand it, because you hear a layman saying, it's good, it's the rich people, let them even stay here. So we want to know
Washington to take up more other assignments and not really representing America across 13 nations. Are these countries, these 30 countries, going to be hanging in the
So, you know, when Richard Nice has been a diplomat since 2002, a very senior, over 29 years, has been in a diplomat, maybe from 2004 till now, senior diplomat. And there's seems for them in America to come back. And to have left Nigeria doesn't mean that they have a job. But the problem is that when they leave, the person in charge would not have the full power or full authority delegated to him to do some assignments that the main ambassador are supposed to. So by that, it asks the countries that are involved. There are certain processes that some of those countries might need to do, but because of the level of charge d'affaires that now is not in position, it will be very difficult for you to do them. Maybe you will process a business. You want to bring in people to Nigeria. You know that it has to start with embassy. So it will not be very difficult. The relationship, watch what happened to Nigeria. It is because we don't have ambassadors in some of the countries. That was the reason why we are where we are today. So there is no people speaking for us. There's no people to affect our relationship abroad. Our influence will be affected abroad. But why to affect them? It's not Nigeria that it. Because what is good for the gander is also good for the goose. As it affects Nigeria negatively, it also affects them by trade, because they're losing Africa. The Chinese is taking that advantages, but it affects us because we are the people crying and needing their help.
Yes. Since are also of the opinion that happening on third world countries issues like security festering them. So what would you say about this? Was it a surprise, or is it a strategic move from the US, the White House, to be able to take this move by removing or halting the oil from America into Nigeria?
No, I don't think it's against only Africans, because some of the we are taking out, most of them are from Eastern Europe, mostly Eastern Europe, Africa and Eastern Europe. Pockets of them are Western Europe, few pockets of them. But I think it's mostly, so the Donald Trump, I think, is really looking at where he has interest or what he has. So we'll now be looking at what maybe from March or April, when all these reforms have happened. So let's just look at what he has in mind to do. But I think that generally, for now, is affecting Nigeria negatively. It's affecting us very, very negatively, because as at now, we want our influence in the world to be expanded, better influence in the world.
Okay, Doctor, let's look at the political and economic impacts of this. Lagos Nigerians commercial. How might business and international partnerships in Lagos feel the impact of such diplomatic change?
Very good question. You see, if, for instance, you're my friend, and everything on earth is based on recommendations. So if I don't know you before, and you recommend me for something, and say this part is very good, she can do this, she can do that. Based on the recommendation from my big friend, I will trust you. But when there is a strong relationship, when we think this security, and you know that the first thing that every country has to do is safety. So it's going to affect business. It's going to affect investors. It's going to affect trade. Because I can't come where there is insecurity. I can't come to invest where the currency is fluctuating. Today is $10. Tomorrow it goes down. The stability and it doesn't have a price. So such volatility affects our economic gains from the U.S. People can no more trust Nigerians to come and do business, come and do trade, to come. Before now, investors, people that are coming to Nigerians, because when you have a stable economy, people will come to do what? To invest, because everybody like to make gains. Country like to make gains. But nobody comes to Nigeria because of those what they perceive as Nigeria is insecure for them to do business.
Now, let's look at the issue of strained counter-terrorism cooperation, because Nigeria has had this trust erosion, from the U.S., especially given the fact that we've seen even state actors playing a part somewhat in financing terrorism, either through being sympathizers or directly funding it. We've seen names that have been published in recent times, even from the UAE, where nothing happened. These individuals were not prosecuted, but their names were being published. So do you think that these further cooperation, collaboration, and even direct assistance that the U.S. may give us, given that their envoy have been withdrawn? And if we also remember, partly, the U.S. president also said if this issue about security is not taken care of, some of the assistance that they usually give to them will be withdrawn. Do you think that is also one of those?
Recall the tenure of President Nigeria had a good diplomatic relation with the U.S. The man is very, very diplomatic and has an external and internal. So Nigeria and U.S. we are very, very good in our relations. So now it has to do with the people in authority, the government of the day. So until 2010, when Nigeria began to have the first time that had bombing, so it was like an island to us. So such thing can happen in Nigeria. So I think that based on what you said, U.S. have a very strong technological wise, they have a very good intel. So when they tell you that can happen, this will happen in so years, you just have to believe them. And what is happening, I think that our political system has been infiltrated. There's a very big problem in our security system. And I think they have seen it and they don't want to work.
So it's a situation of we're on our own, given the fact that these envoys have been withdrawn. Is that what it means?
No.
Anyway, Doctor, let's take a look at the role of political parties in this situation.
All right.
You are the vice chairman of ADC in Lagos West. Who should opposition parties shape Nigerians' foreign policies in this time?
All right, thank you so much. God bless you. I think that one of those roles is what we are doing here now, to the public, and also to tell the government there are some policies that need to step down. Though they are good, but I think it cannot be as the maturity is not yet time. Take a look at the tax system that was by January. If you look at that system, though how beautiful the tax is, but there are still some certain issues surrounding it. After to begin to give a tax, the first thing you do is that you not have empowerment. You have empowerment. Those people that is empowered will now have those to pay up this that to pay. So, and the next thing you have to look at is that you have to ensure that the government have integrity, so that if you want to say do this, person will say, okay, have you done it? When there is integrity, somebody can believe in you. So some of these things should have to be done before some of these taxes. effect. And moreover, we are still going to look at the percentages of those taxes. We think we are going to look at. Because when you say that somebody that earns 800,000, maybe you also have to, it's not in the tax net that are going not to tax. Some people will applaud. But when you look at it very well, some people applaud. How much is 800,000 per year? Maybe you are earning 50,000 naira a school teacher or some of these millionaires. Now, if you are earning maybe 5 million naira, you pay 20%. As an amount to earn, you pay 25%. And if you are paying 25% for 50 million, and I tell you, Pat, your business, you are going to pay 25% for 50 million, that's 1/4 of your gain. That will cause you to invade Paris. And it's not that we are not going to, but I think it is something that has to come gradually. We're not used to this type of thing, and the economy has no stability for this kind of thing, and to impose it on us fiercely. It's going to be, it's only God that will help us. I think we just have to come gradually, I mean, 10%, 13%, do you understand? Until you are still getting used to it. You don't come and say 25%. Man, they will invade you. Always find a way not to.
So you earlier on talked about this of envoys from countries as in that both the U.S. and Nigeria will feel the impact. But do you think that so much of the impact was from their side?
When America is not going to feel impact much, America is a big country. We need them more than they need us. Of course. They don't need us before they need us. Because you can't be an island. But we feel the impact more and more.
Now, looking at the president who thinks America first, is this a wake-up call to our leader, especially the one who occupies the very lofty office in Aso Villa, to be able to look at policies that shape Nigeria, that we're not always in the when it comes to sanctions coming from the U.S.?
That's a very, very good question. You see, it's a wake-up call. Nigeria. Somebody always tell you can't do this, you can't do this. At the time you say, what's there? I can do it. If by now, by the visa restrictions, it's time for Africa, Nigeria to come back, look inwards. How are we going to develop ours? These people are rejecting us. They don't want us to come to them. And when somebody is rejecting you, what do? You go and think to yourself, strategize to make myself better. How am I going to make myself to appear? You know, when you appeal yourself, when you build yourself, somebody will come for you. So I think our leader has to do something.
Doctor, I have one question before we run up. Looking forward, like he asked, my colleague asked, what immediate steps should the Nigerian government take to repair the strained ties with the U.S.? Do you think this government is ready or have a plan to repair this?
I think they're already doing it because the appointment of some ambassadors that will be going for different countries from next year, I think they're in a better, they're already repairing it. Because when you don't have ambassadors in so many countries, that's when relations deteriorate. Nobody is speaking for you. Nobody is talking for you.
Among those ambassadors, some Nigerians are also raising concern about their integrity, their personality, their antecedents in the past.
Sure, it's true.
How much repair will they do on that relationship?
Of course, yes. Nigerians are raising some concerns about that, but it's most often it's better to have that anyway.
That's a beautiful place to leave the conversation. It's better to have than not to have. Thank you so much, ADC Vice Chairman, Lagos West Senatorial District, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
God bless you. God bless you, sir.
All right, Pat, you may want to say something before we close?
Yes, Doctor, thank you for always showing up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, that's our offering from our Lagos Network studios. Many thanks for watching. Benin Network for the rest of the program. Do stay.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari, yari, Oba Tope!
Good morning. Thank you for joining me on the news round for this time. I am Philip Omogupo. The federal government has said there would be no hiding place for terrorists and criminal elements in the nation's forests. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made a statement during an end-of-year press briefing on Monday in Abuja. ITV's Abigail Adiremi reports the minister also stated that Nigeria is emerging from years of economic and security strain, saying that reforms undertaken by the Tinubu-led administration is yielding results across key sectors.
With the year 2025 drawing to a close, this press conference put together by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, is no doubt aimed at showing government success story and assuring citizens. The minister started the briefing by announcing the successful rescue of all remaining abducted pupils and teachers of St. Mary's Catholic Church, Papiri, Niger State, describing it as a major security breakthrough. He added that victims abducted from churches and other locations had also been reunited with their families.
It's a sad one. No one wants to see
anybody, our school children or anybody for that matter, being abducted in any part of this country. And let me reassure you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given a charge to the security agencies to ensure that this...
Speaking further, the minister took time to present highlights of the 2025 scorecard of President Tinubu's administration, adding that the mission of 2026 is to ensure a secure, competitive and prosperous Nigeria.
Our gross domestic product, that's GDP, grew by 3.98% in the third quarter of 2025. Headline inflation has now declined for 8 consecutive months to stand at 14.45% in November 2025. Food inflation, as you also know, is also on a steady downward trend.
Responding to questions from journalists on which version of the tax law will be implemented by 2026, Idris says he is not aware of any alleged discrepancy in versions of newly enacted tax reform laws from what the National Assembly passed. From Abuja, Abigail Adiremi, ITV News.
The Federal Capital Territory Operation SWIP has stepped up efforts to curb activities of miscreants in strategic locations during the Christmas and New Year celebrations in Abuja. FCT correspondent Joy Igoche Eyakina reports that the team visited Akpo Bridge, Area 1 Roundabout, Julius Berger Junction, and Otako Motor Park to sensitize the operators.
As the year winds up gradually, the FCT administration's task force on Operation SWIP have intensified efforts to curb activities of miscreants during this Yuletide season. The team, led by the Director, Department of Security Services, Adamu Gwari, who was represented, visited Akpo Bridge, Area 1 Roundabout, Julius Berger Junction, and Otako Motor Park to sensitize the operators.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Yenson Wike, has given a marching order to the security agencies under the Operation SWIP that every form of criminalities should be crushed accordingly. And Operation SWIP have been doing a very wonderful job, like we have seen. FCT have been relatively peaceful and secured for fun goer and those who have been visiting the recreational centers. And we want to sustain on this achievement. So that is why we have this sustained monitoring of motor parks, dismantling illegal motor parks too that can be used as an avenue for one chance operators and abduction of people, and also any place that we know is not that harbors criminal elements, which most of those shanty places have been dislodged already.
The Head Enforcement Unit, FCT Social Development Secretariat, Ukachi Adebayo, says the department so far had evacuated 181 beggars in the last 2 weeks.
We have about 45 male, 77 female, that's the adults. Then the children, we have 58 of them. Some are willing to go back and some are not willing to go back, because they tell you that going back is not an easy one for them because of the security situation in their home states.
From Abuja, Joy Igoche Eyakina, ITV News.
The Benin City Choral Group brought the magic of Christmas to the residents of the Esama of Benin, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Benedion, with a soulful rendition of 2025 Christmas carols and 3 powerful Bible reflections. Pastor Saul has details.
Dressed in white, the choristers joyfully enveloped the revered patriarch in the spirit of the season, celebrating his lifelong commitment to uplifting humanity. It was an evening rich with traditional melodies as the Esama of Benin basked in the warmth and unity of the gathering. Barrister Peter Otaigbe, a close friend of the Benedion family, delivered the first Bible reading from Genesis chapter 2, reflecting the fall of humanity. The second reading, taken from Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 38, was rendered melodiously by Favor Omobude.
And dust shall thou eat all the days of thy life, and I will put a limit between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed.
the angel Gabriel was sent from God into a city of Galilee named Nazareth to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary.
Reverend Father Stephen Dombury concluded the session with a stirring homily drawn from the Gospel of John. He reminded the gathering that through disobedience a curse came upon the earth, but through the birth of Jesus Christ, redemption was made available to all. The message was clear.
When we celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, we remember that it is because of Jesus that we are able to be free from this darkness.
As the festive season continues, the House of Igbenedion remains a center of Christmas cheer, with choristers and well-wishers spreading joy and goodwill. From Benin, Pius Nsogo, ITV News.
No fewer than 821 suspects were arrested across Edo State in 2025, while hundreds of kidnapped victims were rescued as the Edo State Police Command intensified its fight against crime through intelligence-driven operations and targeted clearance exercises. The Commissioner of Police, Edo State Command, CP Monday Agbonika, disclosed this while briefing journalists in Benin City during a press conference on the command's achievement and strategies for peaceful Christmas and New Year celebrations. Let's join Jalado Joe for that.
Commissioner of Police, Edo State Command, CP Monday Agbonika, says the command recorded major successes during the year with over 800 arrests for armed robbery, kidnapping, murder, rape and other sexual offences, courtism, unlawful possession of firearms and related crimes.
Armed robbery suspects were 39, kidnapping suspects 171, 117 murder suspects were arrested, 239 suspects were arrested for courtism, 11 stolen vehicles were recovered, and 377 kidnapped victims were rescued. Arms of different calibers numbered about 188. Ammunition recovered also was about 422.
CP Agbonika explained that the achievements were largely driven by proactive strategies, especially sustained clearance operations, which dismantled criminal networks and denied hoodlums access to forests and other ungoverned spaces across the state.
The clearance operation, which led to the many other recoveries, firearms, drugs, spanned from Saturday 14 December to 20 December 2025. It was executed through a robust interagency collaboration.
He also warned against the reported disappearance of corpses from some morgues in the state, describing the act as criminal and inhuman. He assured that anyone involved will be highly sanctioned. The commissioner also noted that ahead of the Youth-Out, the command has further strengthened security across Edo State, reminding the public that the police 24-hour emergency lines remains active. From Benin, Jola Diojo, ITV News.
That's it on the news round for this time. Thanks for watching. I am Philip Omo Gupon. Coming shortly is TMI Socials with Ifunaya Adigwe.
TV, certainly the best.
Good morning and welcome. This is TMI Socials. I am Chukufumnanya Adigwe, and here's what's making waves across the social media space. Now we begin with a major policy shift as Nigeria labels kidnappers and bandits as terrorists in this shift. At Monday's end-of-year media briefing in Abuja, the federal government announced it will classify armed groups or individuals involved in kidnappings, attacks on farmers, and terrorization of communities as terrorists. This shift allows security agencies to deploy full counter-terrorism tools such as enhanced intelligence, coordinated operations, and faster response measures, closing legal gaps that previously treated such acts as ordinary crimes. Now, the move follows recent arrests, including bandit leader Fidelis Gayama and senior ISWAP operatives, and comes with plans to deploy forest guards to secure remote areas used as criminal hideouts. Legal experts, however, note that courts must still formally designate specific groups as terrorist organizations for the policy to be fully enforced. Now let's get to see the snippets of this declaration before we go ahead to take reactions.
Most internationally wanted criminals, the ISWAP head residing in Nigeria, has been captured through the coordination of all the security agencies and those also in the intelligence community. Don't forget that Abu Bara was captured a few months ago, and he was also presented to the public by the National Security Advisor and other security chiefs. Now, this is one of the most wanted terrorists on the African continent, and he was captured through the coordination of our security forces. Remember also, this was someone who had a large sum of money put on his head by even the Americans to capture him and bring him to justice. As we speak today, this gentleman, together with his chief of staff, are having their day in court, and they are going to get justice that befits them. Let me clear about what this means. That henceforth, any armed group.
Well, there you have it, the declaration by the Minister of Information on this recent policy shift. Now let's see how the social media space is reacting. This reaction says, this should have happened years ago. Kidnapping children and attacking farmers was never banditry or criminal light. It was terrorism from day one. The statement only matters if it is followed by action. Designation without arrests, prosecutions, and dismantling networks is just another press release. Really is. Now let's see another comment. This commenter says, what about those who have already perpetrated these evils before now? Will there be accountability for past crimes, justice for victims, and closure for affected communities? Without addressing previous atrocities, through arrests, prosecutions, and restitutions, such declarations risk sounding symbolic. True security reform must deal with both the future and the past, ensuring that no one escapes responsibility simply because their crimes happened earlier. Let's take another reaction. This one says, good move, but how are we defining armed? A machete, cutlass, dagger can cause just as much terror as a gun. The government needs to ensure that any group using lethal weapons, not just firearms, is held to these new standards. Let's see the final reactions as regards this particular story. Well, we'll move on to our next story now. It's on business. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery on Sunday commenced nationwide petrol sales at 739 naira per litre through over 2,000 MRS oil filling stations, supported by a daily supply capacity of about 50 million litres. This move is aimed at preventing festive season fuel shortages, stabilizing supply, and easing price pressures across the country. The new pump price presents a significant reduction from the recent 860 to 900 naira per litre range recorded at many outlets, placing Nigeria's petrol price at roughly $0.50 per litre by global comparison. Consumers were encouraged to report any price violations or hoarding via the toll-free line 0800-123-5264. While many Nigerians have welcomed the relief, now the online community is reacting. Let's get to see these reactions. The first reaction says, for every 10,000 naira worth of cement Dangote sells in Nigeria, he makes about 5,920 naira in profit. For the same 10,000 naira sold in other African countries, profit is about 1,900 naira per EBITDA, reports. Why is the margin so high in Nigeria? That might seem like beside the point, but it's still a conglomerate of the Dangote group. Now let's see another social media reaction as regards this story. This reaction says, raw materials in Nigeria, produced in Nigeria and packaged in Nigeria and then exported to other countries. Yet it is still more expensive in Nigeria. Gentlemen, Dangote Cement, making over 50% profit margin off Nigerians, but making just 19% profit margin off other Africans. Now let's see another comment. This commenter goes on to say, to all of you blindly supporting the total ban on petrol importation that is being touted, I bet you all can see the Dangote math somewhere in here. Open your eyes. Years ago, they lobbied the government to ban cement importation and crashed the cost of cement to lower than the imported ones, to suck Nigerians in. Now, they have Nigerians on a chokehold due to exorbitant profit margins. Cement produced by the same large market player in Nigeria is cheaper in some African countries. The same happened with rice until Tinubu broke their back, and it's about to happen with petrol, the most important commodity for Nigerians. Now let's see the final comment on this particular story. This comment says, this is so awkward. If a private refinery is now asking citizens to police pricing, then regulation has quietly collapsed. Price enforcement shouldn't rely on whistleblowing to a supplier. It's the job of the states. Good move by Dangote, yes, but the real headline is that Nigerians are now crowdsourcing market discipline because regulators are missing in action. Now, really quickly, there's other comments on that story. Let's take our final story from the social media space. Now, this is on the Kogi State Governor. The Kogi State Governor, Ahmed Usman Ododo, has publicly praised what he described as a working cabal within government, naming the Accountant General, Hajiya Dr. Habibat Tijani Aliyu as its leader. He said the group, also comprising the state party chairman, Auditor General, and other senior officials, has been instrumental to the administration's performance so far. As you know, saying that you have a working cabal in your government is something that should be criticized, and the social media space is definitely on the forefront of that. Let's see what they're saying. The first comment goes along to say, what a disgraced governor. An appointee of the ex-governor is the head of his cabal. That's the first comment. Let's see another comment now. Well, this commenter says, Governor Ododo's admission that he operates via a cabal is not a slip of tongue. It is a confession of systemic irresponsibility when a supposed leader openly subordinates his constitutional mandate to an unelected interest. He admits that the office is a facade for private control. Now let's take the final comment before we call it a wrap on the segment. This commenter says, in a functioning democracy, admitting to a cabal would be a scandal. Here, it is worn as a badge of honor that signals how far political culture has drifted from constitutional governance to personal rule and patronage. So sad. Well, those are the comments as regards the statement by the governor of Kogi State. And here is where we draw the curtain on TMI Socials today. Thank you so much for sticking. Rejoin Philip Omo-Ogyupa for the continuation of the program TMI.
Thank you, Chukwufunaya. Well, that was a huge bite there as regards open with us about the cabal in government. Well, I think we'll begin to name some of the names basically, because that's where we will be looking at in terms of even tackling insecurity. There are cabals everywhere, and so what's the point of not naming them? Well, this is much going to take, but let's well have you, Charity Tanko, your final words on this.
It's been wonderful doing this with you today, Philip, and doing this with you, Philip. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching the program. Well, talking about cabals, there are cabals everywhere. It's just, we can say maybe the word cabal can now become official since a governor is admitting to having a working cabal. Thank you for watching the program. From Abuja Network Center, I say enjoy your day.
All right, viewers on independent television, remain law-abiding, and please, let's kill anything that has to do with negative vibes, most especially cabals that we see as not constitutionally right, in moving our nation forward. There's much we can take. We'll see you sometime tomorrow. Bye for now.